Every man reaches a moment when he realizes his greatest enemy is not the world, not circumstance, not fate. It is the mind he has allowed to rule him. A drifting mind filled with hesitation, ruled by moods, enslaved by habit. It begins in thought and ends in defeat. If you are tired of watching your days repeat without progress, if you have read and planned and promised, yet change nothing, this message is your line in the sand. For the next 3 hours, I will not merely speak to your ears. I will speak to your subconscious mind, the part of you that governs your habits, your emotions, your destiny, the part that has been programmed by fear, by failure, by repetition of doubt. And through these teachings, that program will be rewritten until you no longer think as a slave, but as a master. Understand this truth. Every result in your life is the shadow of your thinking. If you wish to change your life, you must change your mind. And if you wish to change your mind, you must first take control of what you permit to enter it. For years you have allowed outside voices to occupy your inner world, the voice of fear, of critics, of failure. You have fed the subconscious with weakness, and it has obeyed. Now you will feed it with strength, and it will obey again. What you are about to hear is not mere philosophy. It is the very law that shaped every man who rose from obscurity to greatness. Edison, Carnegie, Ford, Schwab, they mastered their minds before they mastered the world. They governed thought before they governed men. You have been living as a reflection of your past conditioning, but tonight that conditioning breaks. You will not think by reaction. You will think by design. For 3 hours, I will lead you through the same process I have taught to the powerful, how to think clearly, feel deeply, and act decisively. Each sentence you hear will strike the chords of your subconscious until its old song of doubt gives way to a new symphony of power. You will hear truths you already know, but this time they will not pass through the filter of logic. They will sink deeper into the part of you that decides what you believe, what you deserve, and what you dare to attempt. And when you awaken from this session, you will feel it. That quiet surge of conviction that no obstacle can break. That stillness in the heart that says, I am in control now. Think of this night as a turning point. Up to this moment, your thoughts have been your masters. After this, they will become your servants. The mind is clay, but only the disciplined man molds it. The weak man lets it harden in the shape of fear. The strong man shapes it daily with thought, faith, and repetition. This is what you will do tonight. You will stop feeding your mind with the language of limitation. You will stop repeating the excuses that keep you small. You will stop waiting for motivation and begin obeying your own commands. As you listen, I want you to remember this law. Thoughts mixed with emotion and faith become reality. That is not poetry, it is law. The man who repeats weakness with emotion becomes weak. The man who repeats strength with faith becomes unstoppable. And this is why these next 3 hours will change you. Because you are no longer listening for entertainment. You are listening as a creator listens to the blueprint of his new self. You may feel resistance. That is the old mind fighting for survival. Let it fight. Let it die. You are building a new mental structure, one that will not bend to fear. You have spent years rehearsing doubt. Tonight you will rehearse power. Every principle I speak will become an impression on your subconscious that you are the master of your fate, not its victim. That desire is holy when it is definite. That faith is power when it is acted upon. That persistence is genius wearing work clothes. That defeat is never permanent unless you accept it. And as these truths repeat, they will replace hesitation with momentum. You will not need to believe them consciously. The subconscious will accept them as law. For the subconscious cannot tell the difference between truth and repetition. It only obeys what it hears most. And you are about to give it a new ruler, yourself. As you listen, let the words carry you beyond the noise of self-doubt. Let each phrase carve a new groove in your thought pattern, a new pathway of certainty, a new rhythm of belief. When the conscious mind drifts to sleep, the subconscious awakens. It works in silence, shaping tomorrow's actions, attracting tomorrow's opportunities, commanding tomorrow's outcomes. While you rest, it will rewrite your inner world until power feels natural and doubt feels foreign. Tomorrow you will not need to convince yourself that you have changed. You will feel it. You will speak differently. You will walk with assurance. You will decide with speed. You will radiate confidence that others will feel before you speak a word. This is how transformation occurs, not through effort, but through the repetition of right thought. For 3 hours, let these words be your only environment. Forget the failures of the past. Forget the opinions of the crowd. Forget everything except this truth. You are what you repeatedly think. And as you think now, so shall you become. Say it quietly to yourself. I am no longer a creature of fear. I am a creator of faith. I am no longer a slave of circumstance. I am the master of cause. Feel that statement in your chest. That feeling is power. That feeling is law in motion. Keep listening until it no longer feels like hope, but certainty. Keep listening until you no longer need courage, because doubt no longer exists. Keep listening until you feel unstoppable, because that is the natural state of a man who thinks rightly. The power that created worlds is waiting to be commanded by your thought. These 3 hours are your rehearsal for mastery. Fall into the rhythm and let your mind be cleansed of weakness. Let faith take the throne. Let definiteness rule. Because the world obeys only the mind that has first mastered itself, and after these 3 hours, that mind will be yours. Every man is either the master or the servant of his own mind. There is no neutrality in this law. The mind left ungoverned becomes a tyrant, shaping one's life through accident and fear. But when ruled by definiteness of purpose, it becomes the greatest builder known to man. Every fortune, every invention, every act of greatness began as a thought disciplined into obedience. Look closely at your life, and you will see the condition of your mind reflected in it. Chaos within creates chaos without. Indecision within breeds confusion in the outer world. Thought is the root of circumstance. You cannot live above your thinking any more than you can harvest wheat from thorn. Whatever occupies your mental soil will grow, silently, surely, without fail. Drifting is the default of the undisciplined mind. It begins quietly, disguised as rest. You permit one thought of hesitation, and it multiplies. You postpone one decision, and soon postponement becomes a habit. The drifting mind is like an unlocked gate, and anything may enter. Fear, gossip, resentment, envy, each finds shelter there. And before long, these tenants rule the house meant for faith. The man who controls his mind is rare, but he is the only kind of man who truly lives. He does not allow moods to dictate action. He does not bend to the opinions of others. He thinks, decides, and acts from a center of order. To others, he appears calm, steady, confident. But this composure is not accident. It is the natural expression of self-command. The law of mental tendency states that every thought allowed into the mind seeks permanence. If you invite fear, it will not visit. It will move in. If you permit doubt, it will not whisper. It will preach. Every thought seeks to become its environment. Therefore, guard the mind as you would a sacred temple. Admit only those thoughts that serve your definite purpose, and deny entrance to all others. Andrew Carnegie mastered this law. He did not wait for the world to change before he thought greatly. He thought greatly and made the world obey. In his youth, he lived in poverty, but he never permitted his mind to dwell there. He believed that organized thought could command any condition, and time proved him right. His steel empire was not born in furnaces. It was born in focus. Carnegie once said that a man's wealth begins in his mind long before it appears in his hand. He meant that riches are the reflection of mental organization. Opportunity comes to all men, but it stays only with those whose thoughts are definite enough to recognize and seize it. The drifting mind never sees opportunity clearly because it is always fogged with hesitation. The world obeys the mind that knows what it wants. The magnet of definiteness draws all needed resources to its owner. People sense confidence even before a word is spoken. They trust the man whose thought is ordered because order is strength. It is not speech that persuades, it is conviction. Those who think with clarity radiate authority that others feel in silence. You may have wondered why some men rise quickly while others remain in mediocrity despite equal intelligence. The difference lies not in talent, but in mental dominion. The successful man spends his hours thinking deliberately. The unsuccessful man spends them reacting. The first chooses thoughts as carefully as words in a contract. The second lets thought choose him. 1 hour of deliberate thinking is worth years of random wishing. The man who learns to direct his thought with precision saves decades of wandering. He does not wait for life to decide for him. He decides for life. Every definite thought you hold becomes a command to the universe. Every command repeated with belief becomes fact. Let me tell you this, your thoughts are not private. They are vibrations sent into the ether, drawing their kind. The fearful man attracts fear. The doubter attracts failure. The decisive man attracts opportunity. Each mind is a broadcasting station, and life tunes to the frequency it emits. If you broadcast confusion, confusion returns. If you broadcast order, the world aligns to your purpose. Therefore, begin your mastery by cleansing the mind of mental clutter. Spend 1 full day refusing to dwell on a single negative thought. Each time fear or complaint arises, replace it with the image of your definite aim. This exercise will feel like battle, and it is. You are reclaiming the throne of your own consciousness. Mental dominion begins with awareness. You cannot change what you do not observe. Watch your thought patterns as a guardian watches the gate. When you catch yourself thinking of defeat, ask, who permitted this intruder? Then cast it out and replace it with faith. Every time you do this, you strengthen the muscle of control. Self-command is the highest form of freedom. The man who rules himself is unconquerable, for he cannot be manipulated by flattery, fear, or doubt. His emotions obey his reason, and his reason obeys his purpose. To others he appears immovable, but within he moves constantly toward his goal. His composure is the visible sign of invisible discipline. The first step to mental mastery is definiteness of purpose. You cannot control thought that wanders without destination. Purpose gives thought direction, and direction gives it power. A mind without purpose is like a ship without a compass, at the mercy of every current. Choose one aim, fix it firmly, and align every thought toward it until even your subconscious breathes that purpose. Write one definite statement of self-command. Begin with, I will. Write it in the present tense, as though already fulfilled. Keep it visible. Read it morning and night. Each reading engraves it deeper into the subconscious until the mind accepts it as law. When the mind accepts, the world obeys. This act alone can save you 10 years of wandering. Men waste their youth chasing variety because they fear commitment. But the man of one idea, held long enough, surpasses the man of 1,000 dreams never completed. The world rewards focus, not frenzy. One definite thought carried through completion outweighs years of scattered wishing. Indecision is the thief of decades. Every time you delay, you die a little to possibility. Life answers only to those who decide. You may fail after deciding, but even that failure advances you, for it teaches swiftly. The undecided man never fails because he never begins, and so he learns nothing. He confuses safety with stagnation. Understand this truth. You lose not years by failure, but by hesitation. Every opportunity you postpone will be handed to another. Every idea you doubt will be realized by someone more definite. The only difference between those who achieve and those who wish is that one obeys the first sound of intuition while the other waits for permission. Mental dominion also demands mental cleanliness. You cannot mix belief and bitterness and expect harmony. You cannot build success while carrying the poisons of envy, fear, or resentment. Cleanse the mind daily. Forgive quickly. Bless others who succeed. Gratitude purifies thought, and pure thought attracts prosperity. The man who holds malice blocks the flow of creative energy. Practice stillness. Spend a few minutes each day in silence, concentrating upon your purpose. Allow no stray idea to enter. In time, you will feel a power rise within, calm, ordered, ready. This is the mind returning to its rightful master. In that silence, you will hear the voice of intuition, the whisper of infinite intelligence that guides all definite thinkers. When you begin to master your thought, others will notice. They will say there is something different about you, a steadiness, a certainty. They will trust your decisions and seek your counsel. They may not understand why, but they will feel it, for mental dominion radiates an unseen influence that organizes the thoughts of others toward your vision. You will also feel a new peace. The inner noise will quiet, replaced by a single rhythm, the rhythm of purpose. You will rise earlier, speak less, think deeper. You will find pleasure not in distraction, but in progress. The very air around you will seem clearer because your mind no longer clouds it. Say now this affirmation and let it sink into the foundation of your being. I command my thought commands my world. I choose what enters. I expel what weakens. My mind is my workshop, and I shape therein the image of success. I think once, clearly, definitely, and obey that thought completely. Repeat it until you feel its truth, not as words, but as conviction. Speak it before sleep. Repeat it upon waking. Each repetition strengthens the habit of self-command. The mind learns obedience through rhythm, just as the body learns strength through practice. Remember this always. The man who governs thought governs fate. All else in life follows that single mastery. Fortune, peace, and respect are but servants of the definite mind. Begin this night to reclaim dominion. Refuse drift. Decide once, think clearly, and obey completely. For 1 hour of such clarity may save you 10 years of wandering. One decision made in pure thought can rewrite an entire destiny. Every man who has risen from obscurity to greatness has done so through the law of mental dominion, the rule of self over self. Let this be your beginning. Speak once more the vow of mastery. I command my thought commands my world. And when you have learned to hold this truth as steadily as the earth holds the sun, you will discover that life itself moves to your rhythm. The mind obeys, and the world follows. Faith is not a flash of emotion. It is not the cry of the desperate or the prayer of the uncertain. Faith is the quiet, daily discipline of directing thought toward belief until belief becomes natural. It is the science of aligning your mind with law. Every man possesses faith, but few use it deliberately. Most employ it unconsciously. Faith in failure, faith in fear, faith in limitation. Whatever you consistently believe becomes your truth. When I speak of controlled faith, I mean faith guided by reason, sustained by purpose, and expressed through repetition. It is not blind, it is intelligent. It is the art of choosing what to believe, impressing that belief upon the subconscious, and living as though it were already fact. This is the power that has lifted men from obscurity to influence. Controlled faith is not chance. It is law obeyed consciously. The subconscious mind, that silent builder of your destiny, does not argue or analyze. It accepts whatever you tell it, good or bad, wise or foolish, and sets in motion the conditions to match. The man who repeats failure fills it with blueprints of defeat. The man who repeats success plants the seeds of victory. The subconscious is neither moral nor immoral. It is mechanical. It obeys direction without judgment. Thomas Edison understood this law better than any philosopher. Before a single wire was drawn or a filament tested, he saw the electric light complete in his imagination. He rehearsed it mentally until the picture was fixed, then worked in faith until the world matched that inner image. He was not experimenting blindly. He was performing the outer labor of a belief already formed within. That is controlled faith, the mastery of invisible design before physical manifestation. Faith must be trained like muscle. It grows through repetition of right thought, just as muscle grows through repetition of right motion. You cannot develop strength by lifting once. Neither can you build belief by occasional hope. You must train the mind to obey faith through daily exercise, morning, noon, and night, until doubt no longer finds room to enter. There is a difference between optimism and faith. Optimism is a mood. Faith is a decision. The optimist says, things will improve. The man of faith says, I will improve things. One waits for circumstance, the other commands it. Faith is the active side of belief. It is thought put to work through decision and persistence. Controlled faith begins with a definite purpose. The mind must have direction before faith can operate. You cannot believe in everything and accomplish anything. Choose one aim, something that challenges you, yet aligns with your highest vision. Write it plainly. Read it daily. Speak it aloud until your voice becomes conviction. The subconscious will accept it as law, and unseen forces will begin to organize in its favor. Do not seek proof before believing. Belief itself is the proof. The man who demands to see before he acts has already confessed his bondage to the senses. Law works from within outward. The inner picture must come before the outer form can appear. Faith is the bridge between the unseen and the seen, the builder between desire and fact. The power of feeling gives life to thought. Words repeated without emotion are dead. The subconscious accepts only what is felt deeply. When you affirm your purpose, do so with warmth, gratitude, and certainty. Feel the joy of accomplishment as though already achieved. The mind cannot distinguish between genuine experience and vividly imagined experience charged with emotion. Both create the same response. Faith requires consistency. You cannot plant a seed one day and dig it up the next to check for roots. Yet this is how most men treat their dreams. They believe one day and doubt the next, never giving law time to perform. The universe moves with precision, but not haste. Faith that endures creates miracles because it refuses to interrupt the process with impatience. Controlled faith is the secret language through which man speaks to infinite intelligence. Every strong belief, held without wavering, is a command that the infinite must obey. It is not superstition, it is spiritual arithmetic. When thought, emotion, and will unite in one definite direction, they generate power equal to the strength of any physical force known to man. To practice controlled faith, establish a ritual of autosuggestion. Each night just before sleep, when the conscious mind is quiet and the gate to the subconscious stands open, repeat your definite purpose aloud. Say it slowly, deliberately, with full emotion. Imagine the fulfillment as real. See it, hear it, feel it. This moment before rest is sacred, for the subconscious will work through the night upon the impression last received. You're not merely saving hours, you are saving years. The man who doubts for 1 hour repeats that doubt 10,000 times through subtle thought, posture, and tone. The man who believes for 1 hour repeats success for the rest of his life. Doubt wastes decades. Faith compresses time. You can accomplish in 1 year with faith what another might not in 20 without it. Let me make this clear. Faith is not denial of fact, it is mastery over it. It does not close its eyes to circumstance, it commands circumstance to change. When Edison's first 1,000 experiments failed, he did not say, "I am mistaken." He said, "I have found 1,000 ways that will not work." That is faith under control. The refusal to let visible failure alter invisible conviction. Your faith also influences others. People sense belief before they hear words. The vibration of certainty creates trust. The salesman who believes in his product sells effortlessly. The leader who believes in his vision commands loyalty without demand. You need not persuade others to follow you. Faith will magnetize them. The world moves toward the man who knows where he is going. This is why your mental state is never private. Every thought you hold radiates energy. Fear weakens your presence. Faith strengthens it. Walk, speak, and act as one who expects success, and people will treat you accordingly. The confident man is obeyed long before he is understood. You may ask, what if my faith wavers? Then return to repetition. Repetition is the mother of conviction. When doubt arises, do not analyze it. Replace it. Speak your purpose aloud again and again until faith returns. The mind cannot hold two opposing ideas. One must yield. Let faith be the idea that never leaves. Another exercise. Throughout the day, whenever idle thought arises, say within yourself, I am guided by infinite intelligence. My faith is active law. This short phrase will reorient your mind toward order. Each repetition engraves the truth deeper into the subconscious until it operates without effort. Controlled faith requires moral direction. Power divorced from right motive destroys its master. Your purpose must serve life, not exploit it. The universe aids only those who use its forces in harmony with good. Carnegie understood this. He said that riches gained without benefit to others carry their own punishment. Keep your aim pure, and faith will multiply your results without conflict. When you practice faith long enough, it ceases to feel like effort. It becomes habit. You will find yourself expecting success naturally, responding to difficulty with calm assurance. This is the sign that the subconscious has been fully reconditioned. Doubt will feel as unnatural as faith once did. At that point, you have changed your identity from seeker to master. Others will notice the change. They will sense that you possess an inner compass which never wavers. They may call it luck, charm, or confidence, but it is simply controlled faith, the natural dignity of a man who believes in law. Opportunities will appear uninvited, For faith organizes conditions to match its image. People will trust your word because it carries the weight of certainty. You will save not only years, but lifetimes of wandering. For most men live half believing, half doubting, forever starting, never finishing. Controlled faith ends that division. It unites mind and spirit behind one cause. And when all forces within you point in the same direction, the world cannot resist. Let me warn you of the subtle enemy of faith: fatigue. The mind, like the body, grows weary. Do not confuse exhaustion with loss of belief. Rest, renew, and return. Even infinite intelligence created the night for recovery. Faith sustained without rest becomes fanaticism. Faith renewed with balance becomes genius. At the close of each day, thank law for its certainty. Gratitude seals faith as mortar seals brick. Say, I am grateful that infinite intelligence is working through me for good. Every thought of faith I plant grows in perfect order. Then sleep in that peace, knowing that the unseen forces of law are aligning themselves with your purpose. The next morning, rise and act as if your goal were already realized. Speak to people, plan your tasks, and carry yourself in harmony with the man you intend to be. The subconscious responds to behavior as much as to words. By living the part before it becomes fact, you hasten its arrival. Do not wait for the right mood to begin. Begin, and the right mood will follow. Controlled faith is not a flame to be found. It is a fire to be built. Each affirmation is a log, each decision a spark. Feed it daily, and it will burn through every obstacle. As faith deepens, you will feel a strange serenity in the midst of challenge. Problems that once seemed heavy will lose their weight. You will find solutions appearing as if whispered from within. That is infinite intelligence responding to your command. The same power that turns planets now turns your affairs, for faith has tuned you to its rhythm. Now let us affirm together, I am guided by infinite intelligence. My faith is active law. I believe in the certainty of my purpose. I feel success now as though complete. My mind holds no room for doubt. For doubt is the language of weakness, and I am strong. Every thought of faith creates my world anew. Repeat it slowly until you feel the words alive in you. Faith is not built by hurry, but by depth. The deeper you feel, the faster it grows. Remember this truth and live by it. Faith is the habit of repeating victory in thought before it occurs in fact. Hold to that, and you will save 10, 20, even 30 years of frustration. For every man who learns to control faith walks by law, not luck. He commands himself, and the world follows. Repetition is the language through which the mind learns obedience. Whatever you tell it most often becomes its creed, its instinct, its truth. No man is born with confidence. He is trained into it through repetition of strong thought. Likewise, no man is born in fear. He is conditioned to it by repetition of weakness. The mind does not care which it learns. It will become loyal to whichever is repeated longest. Every habit of thought is the child of repetition. Every belief, whether noble or destructive, has been built by continual exposure. The subconscious is like soil. It produces whatever seeds are sown in it most often. You cannot plant doubt daily and expect faith to appear. You cannot repeat excuses each morning and awaken to power. You become not what you wish, but what you repeat. Men have asked me why they cannot change, though they read, study, and plan. The answer is simple. They learn new truths, but repeat old errors. They expose the mind to wisdom, yet keep rehearsing defeat in their speech, their imagination, and their emotions. They water weeds and wonder why no roses grow. Repetition governs belief. Belief governs action. Action governs destiny. Therefore, all change begins in repetition. Henry Ford once said, "Whether you think you can or you think you can't, you are right." That statement is not philosophy. It is physics of mind. Ford's entire empire rested upon repetition of one idea: the car for the common man. He thought it, spoke it, dreamt it, repeated it until even ridicule could not erase it. He rehearsed success long before a single engine turned, and because repetition became faith, the world eventually mirrored his belief. Your present life is a perfect reflection of your inner repetitions. If you repeat anxiety, you live in tension. If you repeat gratitude, you live in peace. If you repeat limitation, you live in scarcity. The law is exact. What you impress continually becomes your expression inevitably. To change the pattern of life, you must rewrite the record in the mind. Repetition is not mechanical, it is rhythmic. The mind learns through emotion and rhythm, not through words alone. The heart must beat with the same tempo as the affirmation, or it will not register. A statement spoken coldly is forgotten. A truth spoken with warmth becomes law. This is why the greatest teachers spoke with feeling. The subconscious hears only what the conscious mind feels. Most men repeat fear more faithfully than they repeat truth. Every complaint, every criticism, every self-doubt uttered with emotion is a negative prayer. They say, "I can't, I never, I'm not ready." And each repetition deepens the groove of limitation. They rehearse defeat so vividly that victory becomes unnatural to them. The successful man simply reverses the pattern. He repeats power until weakness forgets its name. The subconscious cannot resist consistency. You may fail to believe your affirmations today, but if you continue, the day will come when they believe you. Repetition is the great persuader. It conquers resistance, dissolves doubt, and engraves truth where reason cannot reach. When the conscious mind tires, repetition keeps working beneath awareness, shaping thought into habit and habit into destiny. This law operates in all directions. It builds or it destroys, depending upon use. That is why discipline is essential. The careless mind repeats gossip, fear, and complaint. The deliberate mind repeats faith, purpose, and gratitude. The first becomes slave to chance. The second becomes master of cause. You must decide which rhythm shall rule you. Begin your training with deliberate practice. Each morning and evening, read your definite purpose aloud, not as a chant of hope, but as a declaration of fact. Say it with emotion, as though announcing truth to the universe. Then close your eyes and imagine it fulfilled. This is the hour of repetition, the time when you write new commands upon the subconscious. What you impress daily will soon express effortlessly. During this hour, all doubt must be silent. If negative thought attempts to intrude, repeat your purpose louder. The mind cannot hold two ideas at once. One must yield. Let faith be the thought that remains. Continue until you feel the weight of conviction replacing the flutter of doubt. This practice, performed faithfully, is the workshop of creation. For 30 days, speak only what you wish multiplied. Let no idle word escape that weakens your image of self. Refuse gossip, complaint, and sarcasm. Speak faith as though paid for every word of it. This discipline will seem severe at first, for habit rebels against change, but persist. And within weeks you will notice a strange power rising, calm certainty replacing anxiety, authority replacing hesitation. This transformation will not require belief in the beginning. It will create belief through repetition. You cannot outthink what you repeat against yourself. You must drown the old mental record under a flood of new command. The mind does not delete, it overwrites. Therefore, overwrite every doubt with decision, every fear with faith, every complaint with gratitude. Imagine a sculptor chiseling marble. Each stroke removes imperfection and reveals design. So it is with repetition. Each affirmation removes a fragment of the old self until the masterpiece of the definite mind stands clear. The process is slow only to the impatient. Nature herself repeats. The tide, the seasons, the heart, all life is rhythmic. If repetition governs the universe, why should it not govern your mind? Consistency is more powerful than intensity. A man who repeats a single truth calmly each day builds greater power than one who shouts 100 truths once. The subconscious reveres constancy. It trusts the voice that returns. That is why children believe what they hear most from their parents, not because it is true, but because it is repeated. The same principle makes or unmakes every adult. Do not confuse repetition with boredom. Every repetition deepens understanding. A truth revisited 100 times becomes a part of character. The wise do not seek new truths daily. They seek to master one truth fully. The fool chases novelty and remains unchanged. Master one law, and it will open all others. Emotion amplifies repetition. Speak your affirmations when you feel gratitude, excitement, or love, for emotion engraves deeper. The same phrase repeated joyfully is worth more than 100 spoken mechanically. If emotion falters, recall a memory of triumph and attach your statement to that feeling. This merges heart and mind into harmony, and harmony is power. Repetition creates identity. The more often you declare a thought, the more you identify with it. If you say, "I am decisive," long enough, your actions will confirm it. If you say, "I am strong," the body will align to prove it. The subconscious must make you consistent with your dominant belief. Therefore, declare only what you wish to become. As repetition continues, you will notice that others begin to treat you differently. They will sense a new certainty in your manner, a quiet assurance that needs no defense. Confidence will speak before your mouth does. This invisible magnetism is faith matured through repetition. People do not follow words, they follow vibration. The man who repeats power becomes power, and all men feel it. Be aware also of the repetition that surrounds you. Every newspaper headline, every conversation, every idle song is an attempt to condition thought. Protect your subconscious from this invasion. Just as you choose food for the body, choose information for the mind. Reject the constant repetition of fear and scarcity, or you will unconsciously live by it. When discouragement visits, remember that repetition takes time to mature. The farmer does not dig up his seed because the sprout delays. The subconscious, too, requires its season. Continue watering it with faith until results appear. The law does not fail. Men fail in patience. Here is a method. Write your purpose on a card small enough to carry. Read it whenever you feel idle or uncertain. Speak it with conviction. This constant reminder reprograms the wandering mind. Each reading reinforces the groove of determination. Over time, the subconscious becomes incapable of disobedience. It obeys because repetition has become reflex. To strengthen this effect, combine repetition with visualization. See the image of your purpose complete. The more vivid the picture, the faster the result. The subconscious acts upon images more powerfully than words. Describe your aim in every detail until you can feel it real. Then repeat that image nightly before sleep. The last thought of the day becomes the first architect of tomorrow. You will notice as repetition continues that inner conflict disappears. The old voices of doubt grow faint. You will no longer debate whether you can. You will act as if you must. That is faith fully grown. Action will flow naturally from thought without strain. This is the point where belief becomes habit and habit becomes destiny. Let me warn you, repetition can also enslave. If you repeat excuses, you will become their servant. If you repeat resentment, you will live among enemies of your own creation. Therefore, govern what you repeat. Every word is a seed, every feeling is a watering. Speak only that which you wish to harvest. Repetition is the simplest law, yet the most ignored. Men seek new systems while neglecting the one that built every empire. Practice. Ford repeated one idea, Edison repeated one experiment, Carnegie repeated one question. How can this serve more people? Each man rehearsed success until it became inevitable. Their genius was not invention, it was persistence. Now take this law into your life. For the next 30 days, choose one phrase of power and speak it with faith daily. Let it be your morning and evening companion. Choose words that reflect your purpose, not your past. Perhaps each word I repeat builds my reality. I become what I say with faith. Write it where you will see it often. The mind respects visibility. It remembers what it meets often. After these 30 days, you will see subtle signs: hesitation fading, courage rising, opportunities aligning. Others will notice too. They will sense order where they once saw confusion. That is not coincidence, it is cause. You have changed your vibration through repetition, and life responds accordingly. Let us affirm together now, each word I repeat builds my reality. I become what I say with faith. My voice carries power because it speaks truth. My thoughts repeat order, my emotions repeat peace, and my actions repeat success. I am the result of the ideas I practice most. Say it slowly until each word feels solid, immovable. That firmness is belief forming beneath awareness. Repetition builds roots unseen before it yields fruit visible. Persist, and the harvest will arrive. Remember, mastery is not gained by learning more, but by repeating truth until it becomes nature. Save yourself 20 years of restless searching by repeating one principle faithfully for 30 days. For the man who disciplines repetition becomes unstoppable, while the man who neglects it repeats failure by default. So begin this hour. Choose your phrase. Speak it now. Feel it. Repeat it. Let it become your heartbeat. And in time, you will discover that repetition has rewritten your mind into the language of power, the language of the unstoppable. Decision is the spine of destiny. Without it, all thought is vapor, all faith is idle noise. There comes a moment in every man's life when he must cease to consider and begin to command. Until that moment, he drifts among possibilities, tossed between opinions and fears. But the instant he decides, law itself rallies to his side. The universe bows to the definite mind. A decision is more than choice. It is a spiritual decree that transforms invisible thought into visible fact. To decide is to take possession of power. Those who wait for perfect certainty will wait forever, for law reveals itself only to those who move. The man who decides steps into alignment with creative order. The man who hesitates falls out of rhythm with it. Hesitation is not caution. It is paralysis disguised as wisdom. It whispers, wait for a better time, yet no better time arrives. It argues for safety, but safety belongs only to those who act. You have lost not years by failure, but by hesitation. Every moment of delay steals life itself, for life is a current that rewards the swimmer, not the watcher. To think without deciding is to plant without watering. Thoughts are seeds, but decisions are action. Without them, even the most brilliant idea withers. The man who decides quickly and corrects slowly advances farther than the one who contemplates endlessly. The world respects action, not intention. Abraham Lincoln understood this law. During the darkest hour of his presidency, when the nation was torn by war and his own advisors wavered, he made one fateful decision to sign the Emancipation Proclamation. He reflected long, but when the moment arrived, he did not hesitate. He said, "If my name ever goes into history, it will be for this act, and my whole soul is in it." That is decision, the uniting of thought, feeling, and purpose into one irrevocable motion. You see, decision is faith in action. It is the visible proof of belief. To decide is to announce to infinite intelligence, "I trust law to support my choice." The undecided man cannot possess faith, for his heart speaks two languages, belief and fear, and the subconscious obeys neither. Decision fuses thought and emotion into a single current that nothing can resist. Charles Schwab, once a young steelworker under Carnegie, rose to become president of the largest steel company in the world because of one quality, decision. Carnegie said, "Give me a man who knows what he wants and does it, and I will make him rich." Schwab acted without delay, even when uncertain. He believed that action itself clarified the path. He decided, and the world adjusted to his decision. Every great leader has shared this secret. While others think, they act. While others doubt, they commit. While others plan endlessly, they move. And by moving, they discover the plan that thought alone could never reveal. The decisive man is guided by a compass unseen to the hesitant. Each step he takes calls forth the next. Law reveals itself through movement. To practice the discipline of decision, begin with small acts. Each day, choose one thing that you have delayed and do it at once. Make it law that your mind shall obey its first sound thought. Each time you act immediately, you reinforce faith in yourself. Each time you delay, you teach the subconscious that hesitation is permitted. Train it until obedience becomes instinct. Decision builds self-respect. When you keep your word to yourself, your mind begins to trust its own command. This inner trust is the foundation of confidence. The undecided man despises himself because he knows he cannot rely on his own promises. But the decisive man walks with quiet pride. His conscience salutes him, for he is faithful to his own decree. Indecision is self-betrayal. It is the mind divided against itself. One part longing for greatness, another arguing for comfort. The divided man drifts between these poles until life passes him by. Unity of thought, feeling, and will is power. Division is impotence. To heal this division, choose once and commit completely. Let the old self die in the fire of one great decision. You will find that once decision is made, fear vanishes. Fear cannot survive in the same house as determination. It feeds on hesitation. Once you decide, the mind no longer speculates. It commands. The emotions, once chaotic, fall into line behind the will. This is mental order, the harmony that generates creative force. Remember, decision does not require perfect knowledge. It requires perfect faith. No man ever possessed full information before acting. Edison did not know his invention would succeed. He decided that it must. Ford did not know the automobile would revolutionize the world. He decided that it would. The decision created the knowledge, not the other way around. A man who fears wrong decisions never makes right ones, for even a wrong decision made with faith teaches more than indecision ever can. Failure refines the plan. Hesitation destroys the spirit. Each time you decide, you gain strength. Each time you avoid decision, you lose it. Decision is muscle. Use it or it atrophies. Begin to see yourself as commander of your fate, not its observer. Each day declare, I decide once, and law fulfills my decision. Speak it aloud with conviction. This affirmation engraves obedience into the subconscious. Soon your entire being will respond with readiness. The man who decides quickly and firmly develops an atmosphere of authority that compels respect. Others will sense this new energy in you. They will trust your word, not because of eloquence, but because of certainty. Confidence has a vibration of its own. It steadies the room, calms anxiety, and directs thought like gravity. The decisive man becomes a center around which others organize themselves. Do not mistake decision for recklessness. True decision is guided by moral law. It is not haste, but firmness. It weighs truth swiftly, then commits. The reckless man acts from impulse. The decisive man acts from principle. One wastes power in disorder, the other channels it toward a definite end. Decision brings order to time. The indecisive man lives in delay. His tomorrows devour his todays. The decisive man compresses years into months, for he wastes no energy debating what must be done. Each decision saves days of uncertainty, weeks of correction, and years of regret. A clear yes or no opens or closes the door, and life flows forward again. To strengthen decision, practice finality. When a choice is made, close the door behind it. Never reopen it through regret. To look backward is to divide energy between past and future. Say to yourself, I have decided, therefore it is done. This mental closure conserves power for execution. Every reconsidered decision drains momentum. Observe men of success, and you will see this pattern. They decide once, act swiftly, and rarely change unless clear reason demands it. Their minds are trained to move in straight lines. The masses wander in circles, debating endlessly, asking permission of circumstance. The leader consults law within and moves. Decision demands courage, for it exposes you to risk. But understand this, the only real risk is indecision. The man who decides may err, but he will learn and adjust. The man who hesitates learns nothing, for he never acts long enough to gather wisdom. The bold may stumble, but the timid never rise. One decision made with absolute faith can redeem years of weakness. It draws all scattered energy into one burning point. That concentration of purpose opens channels of power you never suspected. You feel alive, alert, directed. The world, which once seemed indifferent, begins to move in your favor because your will has declared itself. The discipline of decision also applies to your thoughts. Decide what to think and refuse all others. You need not fight doubt, simply choose belief. You need not resist fear. Decide for faith. The subconscious will obey whichever is chosen with feeling. Thought follows decision like a soldier follows command. Now let us perform an exercise. Think of one area in which you have delayed. One goal, one change, one act long postponed. Feel the weight of indecision that has lingered there. Then, in this moment, decide. Say aloud, I decide now. I obey law now. I move without delay. Feel the relief that follows, because the mind, long burdened by uncertainty, rejoices when clarity returns. The more you decide, the more decisive you become. Each act of courage feeds the next. Soon decision will feel effortless, as natural as breathing. The weak call it instinct, but it is trained willpower. It is the reward of obedience to law. The decisive man commands respect even from his enemies. They may disagree with him, but they cannot ignore him. His firmness is like gravity. It draws order from chaos. His presence calms confusion. When he speaks, others listen, not from fear, but from recognition of strength. This invisible influence is worth more than gold. Lincoln once said, "I am not bound to win, but I am bound to be true." That statement reveals the essence of moral decision. He did not seek approval. He sought alignment with principle. The man who acts from moral certainty stands taller than circumstance. When conscience and purpose unite, decision becomes unbreakable. Decision also breeds peace. The undecided mind is restless. It vibrates between opposites. But once decision is made, calm descends. You no longer argue with yourself. The energy once wasted on speculation now flows into execution. Peace is not the absence of challenge. It is the harmony of certainty. You will notice as you practice this law that life becomes simpler. You will attract opportunities that match your decisiveness. People will present solutions instead of problems. Events will arrange themselves to assist your momentum. Law responds to clarity as echo responds to sound. Say this affirmation now. I decide once, and law fulfills my decision. My hesitation is ended. My will is united with faith. I move with calm power, and all things necessary to my purpose arrive in perfect order. Repeat it until it feels carved into your being. This is not mere sentence, it is decree. Each time you speak it, the subconscious aligns closer with the rhythm of command. Remember always that decision is the bridge between faith and reality. Without it, even the purest belief remains unexpressed. With it, the faintest hope becomes form. Every success you admire was once a decision, one mind daring to say, "It shall be done." So decide now. Decide to govern thought, to discipline emotion, to live with definiteness. Each decision you make shortens the road to your destiny. Each moment of hesitation adds years to the journey. Choose quickly, act firmly, trust law completely. For the years men waste waiting for certainty could build empires. One decision obeyed is worth more than 10 ideals postponed. And when your life is measured, it will not be remembered by what you hoped, but by what you decided and executed without retreat. You were born to decide, not to drift. Obey that truth, and the world will obey you. There is a power that moves through all men, all things, all thought. It is the same power that spins the planets and ripens the grain, the same power that gave Edison his ideas and lifted Carnegie from messenger boy to master of industry. This power is infinite intelligence, silent, patient, exact. It obeys law, not prayer, and it answers not to wishful thinking, but to harmony. The man who brings his thought, emotion, and will into harmony with this law becomes master, for he has united himself with the very current of creation. The mastermind is not found in crowds or books. It is first discovered within. It begins as an alliance between your conscious reason, your subconscious faith, and infinite intelligence. When these three are united in definite purpose, the barriers between thought and reality vanish. The conscious mind conceives. The subconscious believes. Infinite intelligence completes. It is a trinity of creation, and every genius in history has used it, whether knowingly or not. Most men live divided. Their thoughts pull one way, their emotions another, their actions yet another. They pray for success while expecting failure. They desire abundance while envying the prosperous. They speak of faith while repeating doubt. Such conflict breaks the circuit of power. Infinite intelligence can flow only through unity. When thought, feeling, and purpose agree, the channel opens and law begins its perfect work. The mastermind within you is built upon discipline. You must first govern your thoughts before you can direct the power that animates them. You must quiet emotion before you can hear the whispers of guidance. You must decide firmly before the infinite can lend you its strength. This inner government, self over self, is the foundation of all outer authority. Andrew Carnegie once said that his greatest discovery was not steel, but men who could think together in harmony. What he built with his associates was more than industry. It was the demonstration of mental law. Each man brought his knowledge, but their unity created a power beyond any single intellect. That is the outer master mind. Individual minds harmonize toward one purpose, but it is only a reflection of the inner master mind. Your own faculties united under law. When your conscious and subconscious minds agree, the world must obey. The conscious mind is the captain giving orders. The subconscious is the crew carrying them out. If the captain hesitates, the crew mutinies. If he commands with faith, the ship moves swiftly toward port. Train your conscious mind to issue clear commands. Train your subconscious to obey through repetition and faith. And train your spirit to expect cooperation from infinite intelligence. This is self-mastery. You may have wondered why prayers so often fail. The reason is simple. Men pray in contradiction. They beg for what they do not believe they deserve. They affirm health while repeating fear, ask for riches while doubting their worthiness. The mastermind does not operate under confusion. Infinite intelligence answers the tone, not the words. Only the thought held with conviction and harmony reaches its ear. The man who lives by the mastermind principle ceases to feel alone. He senses a partnership with something vast and intelligent. He feels guided, sustained, and supplied. Ideas come to him at the needed hour. Opportunities appear at the right moment. This is not magic. It is law, responding to mental order. When the inner world is unified, the outer world becomes cooperative. Carnegie often spoke to an imaginary council of advisors, great men of the past whom he pictured as real and present. He would discuss his plans with them in imagination until solutions appeared. This was not delusion. It was deliberate cooperation with infinite intelligence through imagination. He had trained his subconscious to translate vision into practical guidance. You can do the same. When faced with difficulty, retire into quiet thought. Picture wise men, living or dead, who represent the qualities you seek. Ask their counsel inwardly and then listen. The ideas that arise will come from the mastermind within you. Harmony is the password to power. Discord within repels opportunity. Envy, resentment, and criticism close the channel through which law operates. Cooperation, gratitude, and goodwill widen it. The man who blesses others for their success multiplies his own. The man who curses them builds invisible walls around his fortune. Infinite intelligence works through unity, not division. Gratitude is the highest form of harmony. When you give thanks sincerely, you acknowledge the presence of law already at work. You align your mind with abundance instead of lack. The grateful man is rich in every condition, for his thought vibrates with supply. Gratitude turns desire into magnetism. It draws more of what you praise. Begin and end each day with thanksgiving, and you will never lack cause for it. To live in harmony, you must also purify motive. Power used for selfish gain turns against its possessor. The universe will not assist greed, though it may seem to for a time. The man who serves himself alone stands upon sand. The man who serves a purpose greater than himself stands upon rock. Make your purpose useful to others, and the mastermind will support you beyond measure. When you are united with law, you need not struggle. Effort becomes rhythm. Work becomes expression. The man who fights circumstance lives in conflict. The man who cooperates with law moves with ease. He works hard, but without strain, because his energy flows in one direction. He is like the river that cuts through stone, not by force, but by persistence in harmony with gravity. The mastermind within you is not a voice from outside. It is your own highest reasoning illuminated by faith. It speaks softly, never in haste, always in truth. It does not argue. It knows. To hear it, silence the noise of fear and desire. Sit quietly each day and say, "Infinite intelligence, I am listening." Then wait. The thought that comes with calm assurance, not excitement, not anxiety, is the answer. As you practice this communion, you will begin to sense guidance in all things. You will move through life with an inner compass that never fails. People will call it intuition or luck, but it is law in motion. You will know when to act, when to wait, when to speak, when to remain silent. Such certainty cannot be explained to those who have not experienced it, but it can be felt by all who live in harmony. Do not think that this power will make you above failure or hardship. It will make you master of their meaning. To the man of the master mind, every obstacle is instruction. Every difficulty conceals direction. The ordinary man cries, "Why has this happened to me?" The wise man says, "What is this trying to teach me?" The one resists, the other learns. The master mind transforms even defeat into advancement. Remember always that pride is the enemy of power. When the mind begins to boast, the channel closes. The moment you claim ownership of strength that belongs to law, the supply ceases. You are not the source, you are the instrument. Infinite intelligence does not favor vanity. It works through humility, for humility is openness. Pride says, "I have done this." Faith says, "Law has worked through me." Keep this understanding, and your strength will multiply without limit. Let us practice an exercise of union. Sit quietly and breathe deeply. Think of your definite purpose. See it complete in your mind's eye. Feel gratitude as though already achieved. Then affirm silently, "Infinite intelligence, I am your instrument. I think clearly, act bravely, and serve justly. Through this union I save not years, but lifetimes of wandering. My mind is order. My life is law." Repeat this slowly until peace fills you. That peace is the vibration of harmony, the surest sign that connection has been made. The man who lives by this understanding carries a strange calm into all affairs. He no longer argues with reality. He directs it. He speaks little, listens deeply, acts decisively. His presence comforts the fearful and steadies the confused. He becomes, in truth, a living transmitter of faith. To others, it feels as though unseen strength surrounds him. That strength is the master mind within made visible. You may notice that people will come to you for guidance, not because you seek them, but because order seeks order. The disciplined mind attracts other minds ready for discipline. You will become a center of cooperation. Opportunities will seem to find you by chance, but they are drawn by law. You have become a magnet of harmony, and harmony multiplies itself wherever it is found. The master mind within is also your safeguard against loneliness. You may walk among men who misunderstand you, but you will never again feel isolated. You will sense an invisible companionship, an assurance that you are being guided by wisdom greater than your own. This companionship is not imagination. It is the awareness of infinite intelligence operating through your faith. As your harmony deepens, time itself will seem to quicken. You will accomplish in months what once required years. Thought will move ahead of circumstance, preparing paths unseen. This is why I say that one who learns to master his mind saves 10, 20, even 30 years of wandering. He no longer travels by trial, but by law. He does not guess. He knows. Let gratitude be your daily closing act. Each night before sleep, review the day, not for what failed, but for what succeeded. Give thanks even for lessons disguised as loss. Say, I am thankful for the wisdom that grows through every experience. I am at peace with lost sleep in this faith, and the subconscious will rebuild confidence while you rest. When you awaken, move with serenity. Carry your purpose into every act, not as strain, but as service. Work as though infinite intelligence were your partner, because it is. Every plan executed in harmony with law bears fruit in its own season. To those who ask you the secret of your composure, speak not of mystery, but of obedience. Say simply, I have learned to think with order. For order is heaven's first law. The world rewards the man who aligns with it. Let us close with the final affirmation, to be spoken slowly and felt deeply. I am one with law. My thought, word, and deed are one. My mind is calm, my heart is clean, my purpose is definite. Infinite intelligence works through me as power, peace, and plenty. I walk by faith, not by sight, for faith is sight in its higher form. I am guided, protected, and supplied by law unfailing. Repeat this until you feel the presence of calm certainty, that still, steady knowing that all is well. For that feeling is faith fulfilled, the mind united with its source. From this moment, you are no longer a seeker of power. You are its steward. You no longer chase wisdom. You embody it. You no longer wait for miracles. You perform them through law. Remember always that life is not a battle to be fought, but a law to be obeyed. When thought is definite, emotion pure, and motive right, infinite intelligence takes command. You walk not by chance, but by design. You are master because you serve law. Thus ends the journey, from drifting mind to directed power, from doubt to faith, from chaos to harmony. You have learned the highest truth, that the master mind is not outside you. It is within you, awaiting your obedience. Now rise and live as the man who knows. Let every act, every word, every thought declare silently, I am one with law. And when you look back years from now, you will see that this understanding saved not a few months of confusion, but decades of wandering. You will know that mastery of thought is mastery of life. For the man who has united himself with infinite intelligence cannot fail, cannot fear, cannot doubt. He has become peace in motion. Let me ask you a question that will not leave you alone. If you knew you could not fail, would you begin today? Would you write the plan, make the call, take the risk you've buried for years? Or would you still wait, still hesitate, still drift while time steals the chance from your hands? Most men would like to believe they would leap instantly, but in truth, most would still pause. Why? Because fear has trained them to delay even when defeat is impossible. Fear has hypnotized them into waiting for a tomorrow that never arrives. And while they wait, life chooses another man, bolder, swifter, more definite, to take the prize. You have asked yourself, why me? Why was I given this vision, this desire, this restless urge? The answer is simple, because you were chosen for more. The dream in your heart is not an accident. It is the whisper of infinite intelligence, a calling no one else can fulfill. Yet most men will silence it with excuses. They will tell themselves they are not ready, that conditions are not right, that the risk is too great. And so they bury the very destiny that was meant to crown them. I must be plain with you. The world does not care about your excuses. It only cares about your definiteness. It crowns the man who acts and forgets the man who waits. Every fortune I have studied, every leader I have examined, every triumph I have recorded, began when a man decided to act as though failure was not possible. He chose, he moved, and the universe moved with him. Now hear me, you are being tested this very moment. The test is not whether you have talent, resources, or connections. The test is whether you will decide. If you would act today, as though you could not fail. You would awaken forces beyond your imagination. You would discover that failure itself is an illusion, that every defeat is only instruction, every obstacle only training, every delay only preparation. But if you continue waiting for proof, for permission, for certainty, you will waste the very years that were meant to crown you. You will die with your song unsung, your book unwritten, your dream unlived. That is the greatest failure of all, not the failure of action, but the failure of never beginning. So I ask you again, if you knew you could not fail, would you start today? If your answer is yes, then listen closely. I will not flatter you with easy promises. I will show you the law. I will show you how to command your mind, how to banish fear, how to build the fire of desire and sustain it with faith, decision, and persistence until reality bows to your will. This is the path walked by Carnegie, Edison, Ford, and Lincoln. This is the path you must walk if you would fulfill the destiny that whispers within you. You were chosen for more. The question is whether you will finally choose yourself. Every triumph begins with a first step, and that step is never taken under perfect conditions. Men wait for the day when money is abundant, when allies appear, when fear is gone, when proof is certain. That day never comes. The man who rises is the man who begins before he is ready, trusting that action itself will summon resources, allies, and courage along the way. Hesitation is more costly than defeat. A defeat teaches, sharpens, toughens. Hesitation teaches nothing, hardens nothing, yields nothing. A man who dares and fails has earned wisdom. A man who waits and drifts has only wasted years. Time is the one resource that cannot be replaced, and every day surrendered to hesitation is stolen forever from your destiny. Edwin C. Barnes proved this law. He had no money, no influence, no experience, but he carried one burning thought: to become the business associate of Thomas Edison. Had he waited for money, he would have waited forever. Instead, he acted. He boarded a freight train, arrived in rags, and declared his intention to Edison himself. That beginning, taken before he was ready, bent his destiny. Barnes did not enter Edison's office as a beggar, though he looked like one. He entered as a man who had already decided. Edison sensed it. He did not place Barnes in partnership at once, but he gave him a chance. Barnes accepted menial work, yet in his mind he was already Edison's associate. That definite beginning carried him through years until opportunity opened, and then fortune crowned him. How many men died with dreams because they never began? They excuse themselves with fine reasons. I am preparing, I am waiting for the right time, I am gathering proof. But behind those words was fear. They did not begin, and so their dreams became their torment. Life crowns only the man who moves, never the man who waits. Say this with me: I begin now. I act today. Delay cannot chain me. Speak it as command. Each time you declare it, you engrave courage in your soul. Each time you act upon it, you build faith. Each time you begin without waiting for certainty, you prove to infinite intelligence that you are ready for guidance and increase. Contrast this with the drifter. He talks, he wishes, he plans endlessly, but he never begins. He waits for safety, for applause, for perfect conditions. He dies waiting. No man was ever crowned for waiting. Fortune belongs to those who dare, not those who prepare endlessly. The graveyards are filled with men who waited. The history books are filled with men who began. You stand now at the same crossroads. The question is not whether you are ready. You will never be fully ready. The question is whether you will begin. Every empire, every fortune, every triumph began with one imperfect, uncertain, daring step. You are chosen for more, but only you can choose to begin. Begin now, and the law of beginning will reward you. Failure is an illusion. No man is ever defeated until he surrenders in his own mind. What the world calls failure is only temporary defeat, instruction in disguise, training for greater endurance. The only true failure is fear. Fear paralyzes a man before he moves, convinces him to quit before he begins, chains him when victory was a few steps away. Fear is the hidden hand that robs destinies. Every life I have studied proves this law. The strongest men I knew were those who faced endless defeats, yet kept moving. The weakest men I knew were those who never tried at all. Defeat did not ruin them. Fear did. Defeat sharpened the strong, but fear hollowed the weak. To master life, you must master fear, for it is the one enemy that wears every mask, enters every home, whispers in every man's ear. There are 6 basic fears that haunt mankind: the fear of poverty, the fear of criticism, the fear of ill health, the fear of loss of love, the fear of old age, and the fear of death. Each has destroyed more fortunes, prevented more beginnings, and strangled more dreams than any other force. You may dress them in fine names, but their root is the same: paralysis. Fear stops you while courage advances. The fear of poverty is perhaps the most cunning. It convinces men to cling to wages they despise, to labor without purpose, to bury dreams under the excuse of security. Poverty itself is not the prison. The fear of it is. Poverty can be escaped by desire, decision, and persistence. But the fear of poverty keeps a man enslaved forever, even when opportunity stands open before him. Henry Ford was born without wealth. He had no inherited fortune, no powerful connections, no long education. But he did not surrender to fear of poverty. He risked ridicule, lawsuits, even bankruptcy. Yet he pressed forward. He silenced the fear of lack with the decision to act. His automobiles filled the world because he refused to bow to fear of empty pockets. His example proves that fear of poverty, not poverty itself, is the true curse. The fear of criticism is the second thief. It keeps men silent when they should speak, timid when they should act, apologetic when they should lead. The world ridicules every new idea, mocks every dreamer, laughs at every pioneer. If you fear this ridicule, you will bury your vision before it is born. Yet every man I studied who rose to greatness was once called a fool. Edison was mocked for chasing light. Lincoln was called weak. Ford was called ignorant. Their faith silenced criticism because they acted. The fear of ill health poisons many lives. Men imagine disease, speak of weakness, worry themselves into sickness. This fear steals strength by suggestion. Yet health is strengthened by faith, by positive thought, by purpose. I have seen men of frail body outlast stronger men because their minds were fixed on service and destiny. The body obeys the mind. Fear of ill health cripples both. The fear of loss of love has ruined countless souls. Jealousy, suspicion, possessiveness, all are children of this fear. It distracts the mind from purpose, consumes energy, and creates misery. Yet love thrives not by fear, but by confidence, faith, and generosity. To fear loss is to invite it. To act with faith in love is to strengthen it. The fear of old age whispers that strength will fade, opportunity will vanish, life will be over. But old age, rightly viewed, is wealth. It carries wisdom, patience, perspective. Many of the men I studied accomplished their greatest triumphs past 40. Fear of age is foolish, for time can be your ally if you persist. The man who wastes youth in drift fears age. The man who uses youth in service welcomes it. The fear of death is the last thief. It shadows every life. Men waste their years trying to avoid it, yet death comes to all. To fear it is to fear what cannot be avoided. To accept it is to be free. Every great man I knew walked calmly with the awareness that his soul was eternal and that death could not cancel his influence. Fear of death shortens life. Faith in eternity lengthens purpose. Say this with me: I master fear. I act as if defeat is impossible. Speak it with force. Each repetition engraves courage. Each act taken in defiance of fear weakens its chains. Each victory, however small, trains your subconscious to obey faith instead of doubt. Do not wait for fear to vanish before acting. Act, and fear will vanish. Henry Ford is the perfect example. Critics called him ignorant. Financiers called him reckless. Rivals sued him. Workers doubted him. Yet Ford acted. He decided. He persisted. He believed. His faith outweighed all fear. His aura radiated such certainty that men followed even when logic told them not to. His triumph was not built on machines, but on mastery of fear. The drifter bows to fear. He lets it dictate every move. He delays beginning because of poverty. He avoids decisions because of criticism. He excuses laziness with fear of ill health. He smothers love with suspicion. He despairs of age and trembles at death. His aura is dim, his life wasted, his destiny betrayed. Yet he comforts himself with the illusion that he was being cautious. In truth, he was only afraid. The decisive man conquers fear with faith. He acknowledges its whisper but acts anyway. He feels its weight but steps forward. Each step builds more courage until fear has no power. His aura radiates calm authority. Men trust him. Opportunities bend toward him. Infinite intelligence responds to him. He proves that fear is powerless against faith. Mark this. Every obstacle contains the seed of benefit. Defeat teaches persistence. Criticism teaches independence. Poverty teaches desire. Sickness teaches discipline. Loss teaches appreciation. Age teaches wisdom. Death teaches urgency. Fear blinds you to these seeds. Faith reveals them. That is why fear is the only failure, but faith transforms every failure into advantage. Say it again slowly, as if engraving it upon steel. I master fear. I act as if defeat is impossible. Write it on paper. Place it where you will see it daily. Repeat it until your subconscious believes it. Each time fear whispers, shout this decree louder. Each time fear tempts you to delay, act immediately. In this way, fear will become your servant instead of your master. The world crowns the man who acts without fear. Lincoln persisted, though mocked and defeated. Carnegie built fortune, though poor and untrained. Edison endured ridicule, though thousands of failures. Washington rose from bondage, though surrounded by prejudice. Ford filled the world with machines, though resisted by giants. Each chose faith over fear. Each proved that failure itself is an illusion. Therefore, I command you, banish fear from your temple. Speak faith daily. Act boldly. Persist through defeat. Laugh at criticism. Trust love. Welcome age. Accept death. Each day you conquer fear, you build destiny. Each day you act as though failure were impossible. You prove to infinite intelligence that you are chosen for more. And when you live this way, the world itself will yield. Desire is not a whim. It is not an accident. It is not a passing fancy to be indulged or dismissed. Desire is the signal of destiny. It is the whisper of infinite intelligence, planted in the soul as proof that you were chosen for more. Every man is given desire, but few are faithful to it. Most silence it with excuses. They call it foolish, unsafe, impossible. In truth, it is their crown waiting to be claimed. When I speak of desire, I do not mean wishing. A wish is weak, content to sigh and drift. Desire is fire. It is definite, white-hot, commanding. It consumes hesitation, it bends circumstance, it compels action. Until a man feels this fire, he will drift forever. When he feels it, no power on earth can stop him, for infinite intelligence itself rises to serve him. Andrew Carnegie proved this law. Born poor, working as a bobbin boy in a factory, he had no wealth, no influence, no education. Yet he carried a burning desire for riches and influence. That desire drove him to seize opportunities, to work with tireless energy, to rise from clerk to steel magnate. The desire was not accident, it was the signal of destiny. He obeyed it, and it crowned him. Say this with me. My desire is law. It is my command and my crown. Declare it until your soul trembles. For the fire within is not random. It is proof that you were chosen. Infinite intelligence does not give great desire to men who are meant for smallness. The size of your desire is the measure of your destiny. To deny it is to betray the very reason you were born. Desire ignored becomes torment. The man who feels a dream within but buries it under excuses cannot escape restlessness. He will feel agitation, dissatisfaction, despair. He may drown it with busyness, with pleasure, with distraction, but it will not die. It will gnaw at him until his last breath. This torment is not punishment. It is mercy, urging him to act before it is too late. Desire pursued becomes triumph. The man who dares to obey the fire, who writes his aim, who repeats it daily, who acts with definiteness, will find himself lifted. Doors will open, allies will appear, ideas will arrive, opportunities will align. The world itself will conspire, for infinite intelligence crowns the faithful. His aura will blaze with certainty, and men will trust him without knowing why. Barnes, the obscure clerk who became Edison's partner, is another witness. His desire was not vague. He did not say, "I should like to work for Edison." He declared, "I will become his associate." That burning desire carried him across states, carried him through years of obscurity, carried him until opportunity appeared. His fortune was not built by talent or money, but by burning desire. The drifter feels desire but excuses it. He says, "Not now. I have no resources, I have no training, I have no chance." He smothers the fire, waiting for conditions to be perfect. They never will be. He dies with his dream buried, his fire turned to ashes, his destiny betrayed. He calls himself prudent, but in truth he was faithless. He was chosen for more, but he refused his crown. The decisive man honors desire as a command. He does not excuse, he does not delay, he does not drift. He writes his aim, he engraves it daily, he acts upon it, he burns bridges behind him and commits his soul to victory. His aura radiates inevitability. Men sense it and yield. Infinite intelligence aligns with him. He becomes unstoppable, for he is faithful to the fire that chose him. Say it again. My desire is law. It is my command and my crown. Write it. Speak it morning and night. Each time you declare it, your subconscious accepts it. Each repetition deepens the engraving. Soon your mind will believe it without question. When the mind believes, the aura radiates. When the aura radiates, the world bends. This is the rhythm of destiny. Carnegie, Ford, Edison, Lincoln, all obeyed desire. Lincoln desired union and justice. He endured ridicule, defeat, and war, but the fire never dimmed. Ford desired a car for the multitude. He endured lawsuits, mockery, and bankruptcy, but the fire drove him. Edison desired light. He endured thousands of failures, but the fire burned brighter. Each man's desire was his signal of destiny, and each man obeyed it until crowned. Do not imagine that desire will make the path easy. It will make it possible. The path will still demand labor, persistence, sacrifice. But without desire, no man will endure these costs. Only burning desire sustains through delay and defeat. Only burning desire compels persistence. Without it, the first storm will scatter you. With it, no storm can stop you. Mark this. Desire is the root of all riches, all power, all achievement. Without it, no plan has force. With it, even a poor plan will outlast opposition. It is the one resource every man possesses equally at the beginning. The world may deny you wealth, education, connections, but it cannot deny you the power to desire. That power is your birthright. To waste it is the greatest poverty. Therefore, I command you, honor your desire. Do not belittle it. Do not silence it. Do not excuse it. Write it. Declare it. Pursue it. Let it burn until your life itself is shaped by it. For this fire is not yours alone. It is the whisper of infinite intelligence, reminding you that you were chosen for more. Every man comes to the gate where two paths stand before him. One is the wide road of indecision, smooth and easy at first, but leading to drift, regret, and ruin. The other is the narrow road of decision, difficult and steep at the beginning, but leading to mastery, fortune, and freedom. This gate is not passed once. It is faced daily. Each choice you make reveals whether you are a drifter or a commander. Indecision is drift. It is hesitation disguised as caution, waiting disguised as wisdom, fear disguised as prudence. It robs more men of their destiny than defeat ever did. A man who hesitates loses opportunities, weakens his faith, and convinces his subconscious that he cannot be trusted. His aura grows dim. Men feel his uncertainty and withdraw. Life crowns the man who decides, not the one who waits. Decision is mastery. To decide is to say, this is my course. I shall take it. I shall pay the price. I shall not turn back. The very act of decision strengthens faith, builds courage, and engraves power into the subconscious. The man who decides quickly and firmly radiates confidence. His aura brightens. Men trust him, opportunities open, infinite intelligence aligns. He bends destiny by the weight of his choice. Abraham Lincoln proved this law. During the war, he was surrounded by critics, doubters, and enemies. Advisors pressed him to compromise, to yield, to delay. But Lincoln decided firmly, the Union must be preserved. He wavered not, even when defeat seemed certain. His decision steadied a trembling nation. His aura carried authority because he had passed through the gate of power. His firmness crowned him. Henry Ford was also a man of decision. He declared he would build a car for the multitude. Engineers insisted it was impossible. Financiers mocked him. Rivals ridiculed him. Yet Ford did not drift. He decided and held to his decision. That firmness compelled his men to continue, even after failure, until the impossible was achieved. The motor car filled the earth because one man refused to waver. Contrast this with the drifter. He says, I will decide tomorrow. Tomorrow comes, and he delays again. He shifts with every opinion, waits for certainty, follows the crowd. His aura radiates weakness. Men sense his indecision and pass him over. Opportunities vanish before his eyes, yet he comforts himself with excuses. He wonders why fortune avoids him, not knowing he broadcast uncertainty. Say this with me, I decide. My word is law to me. My decision bends destiny. Declare it with force. Write it. Repeat it morning and night. Each repetition teaches your subconscious that you can be trusted. Each decision taken, however small, builds the habit of firmness. Each habit of firmness strengthens your aura. Soon your presence will radiate command before you speak. Do not confuse decision with stubbornness. Stubbornness clings to folly, refusing to adapt. Decision fixes itself on definite aim but adjusts methods when necessary. Lincoln changed generals but never his purpose. Ford refined designs but never his aim. Edison shifted experiments but never abandoned his goal. Decision is steadfast in aim, flexible in method. The crowd fears decision. They say, be cautious. Wait for certainty. Gather more proof. But proof comes only after decision. Certainty is born of action, not waiting. The man who waits never finds it. The man who decides creates it. Life crowns the bold. Infinite intelligence responds to definiteness, not hesitation. Think again of Barnes, who desired to become Edison's partner. His decision was made before he boarded the train. He did not drift. He did not say, perhaps I will try. He said, I will. That decision carried him through years of obscurity until victory bowed. Had he waited for money, influence, or proof, he would have died unknown. His decision bent destiny. Indecision poisons the subconscious. Every time you hesitate, you engrave weakness. Every time you postpone, you weaken faith. Every time you excuse delay, you dim your aura. Soon hesitation becomes habit, and habit becomes destiny. Men of indecision die with their dreams unfulfilled, not because fate denied them, but because they never chose. Decision strengthens the subconscious. Each time you decide quickly and firmly, you engrave confidence. Each time you act without wavering, you deepen faith. Each time you commit and persist, you brighten your aura. Soon firmness becomes habit, and habit becomes destiny. Men of decision die with their names remembered, their dreams fulfilled, their crowns secured. Right now, a definite decision. Choose a course, fix a date, commit yourself, burn bridges behind you, declare it aloud, obey it daily. Do not waver. This act will transform your soul. It will engrave authority upon your subconscious. It will brighten your aura until men feel your certainty. It will summon infinite intelligence to open doors. Say again, I decide. My word is law to me. My decision bends destiny. Speak it until hesitation feels unnatural. Speak it until you cannot imagine drifting. Speak it until your aura radiates calm authority. This is the oath of mastery. This is the law of decision. Mark this truth. The greatest risk is not decision. It is indecision. A wrong decision can be corrected. No decision cannot. A wrong path may teach. No path teaches nothing. A wrong act may wound. No act kills destiny. Better to decide and adjust than to drift and regret. Edison failed thousands of times, but each was the fruit of decision. Ford risked lawsuits, but each was the fruit of decision. Lincoln endured criticism, but each was the fruit of decision. Their names endure because they dared to decide. The drifter's name vanishes because he dared not. Therefore I command you, pass through the gate of power, decide, commit, persist. Let no man sway you, no doubt weaken you, no delay chain you. Each decision engraves mastery. Each act of firmness bends destiny. Each day of decisiveness builds the crown you were chosen to wear. Faith is the unseen guarantee of all achievement. It is the inner voice that whispers, though the path is dark, the end is certain. It is the unseen bridge between thought and reality, the force that convinces the subconscious, the fire that compels persistence. Without faith, desire weakens, decisions waver, and persistence collapses. With faith, even the poorest man becomes rich in certainty. You cannot touch faith with your hands, nor measure it with scales, nor see it with your eyes. Yet it is more real than steel, more powerful than armies, more fruitful than mines. Every fortune I have studied was built upon faith. Every leader I have examined was sustained by faith. Every triumph I have recorded was born of faith. Without it, the greatest plans crumble. With it, even weak plans succeed. Thomas Edison proves this law. He declared that electricity could be tamed to produce light. The world mocked him. He endured thousands of failures, nights of exhaustion, years of ridicule. Yet his faith never faltered. Each defeat he counted as progress. Each failure he called a step toward victory. Faith sustained him when reason alone would have surrendered. At last light burned, and the world itself was changed. Henry Ford also proved it. He announced he would build a motor car for the multitude. Experts called him ignorant. Financiers laughed. Rivals sued. Yet his faith outweighed their doubt. He decreed his aim, persisted with his plan, and acted with unshakable belief. His aura radiated such certainty that his men continued when hope seemed gone. His faith was the unseen guarantee, and it built an empire. Abraham Lincoln was ridiculed, defeated, and opposed at every turn. Yet his faith in union never dimmed. Through war, betrayal, and sorrow, he carried an unshakable inner belief that the cause was just and victory possible. That faith steadied a divided nation. His calm radiance was not natural, it was faith. Without it, the union would have dissolved. With it, the nation endured. The drifter lacks faith. He waits for certainty before acting, not knowing certainty is born of action itself. He demands proof before believing, not knowing belief creates proof. His aura radiates doubt, and men avoid him. He postpones, he hesitates, he drifts. He convinces himself he is cautious, but in truth he is faithless. His destiny dies before it begins. Say this with me. I believe, therefore I act. Faith is my inheritance. Speak it until your heart beats with courage. Speak it until your subconscious accepts it. Each repetition engraves conviction. Each act taken in defiance of fear deepens faith. Each victory, however small, proves the law. Faith is not chance, it is habit. You build it as you build muscle by daily exercise. Do not imagine faith comes only to a few. Every man can build it. Begin with affirmations. Speak your desire aloud daily. Imagine it as already achieved. Act boldly even when fear whispers. Persist even when defeat mocks. Each repetition strengthens faith. Each act of courage weakens fear. Soon faith becomes your nature. Your aura radiates calm strength. Men feel it, trust it, and follow it. Edison did not wait for faith, he built it. Ford did not wait for certainty, he acted until certainty was created. Lincoln did not wait for support, he carried faith until support arrived. Each man proved the same law. Infinite intelligence crowns the man of faith. Ideas flow to him, allies gather around him, obstacles bend before him, his aura compels obedience. Mark this. Men of doubt radiate weakness. They may speak well, plan well, dress well, but their aura whispers uncertainty. Allies hesitate, opportunities vanish, enemies advance. Men of faith attract opportunity. They may be poor, obscure, untrained, but their aura radiates inevitability. Allies trust them, opportunities yield, enemies retreat. The difference is not in resources, but in faith. Write your desire clearly. Repeat it aloud morning and night. Imagine it as already achieved. Speak gratitude for it in advance. Act daily toward it. These are the exercises of faith. Each day you practice, you engrave conviction deeper. Each engraving brightens your aura. Each brightening compels fortune. Do not delay. Begin tonight. Say again, I believe, therefore I act. Faith is my inheritance. Write it. Place it where your eyes will see it. Repeat it until you can no longer doubt. Repeat it until hesitation feels unnatural. Repeat it until your subconscious accepts it as law. For once your subconscious accepts, your destiny is certain. Faith is the unseen guarantee. Infinite intelligence responds to faith. Doubt repels it. When you declare your aim with faith, unseen forces align. Ideas arrive, guidance appears, doors open. When you waver, nothing moves. Faith is the signal to the unseen. It is the proof of your readiness. It is the invitation to infinite intelligence to act on your behalf. Every man is tested by fear, defeat, delay. These are the proving grounds of faith. The drifter surrenders. The chosen persists. Faith is not the absence of struggle. It is the refusal to surrender. It is the calm voice that says, though the night is long, the dawn is certain. Carry this voice, and nothing can ruin you. Therefore, I command you, cultivate faith daily, speak affirmations, visualize your desire as fact, act boldly, persist without surrender, guard your mind from fear, criticism, and doubt. Each day you obey this law, your faith deepens. Each day it deepens, your aura brightens. Each day your aura brightens, fortune bends. This is the unseen guarantee. Say it one final time with conviction. I believe, therefore I act. Faith is my inheritance. Let this be your law. When faith is your habit, defeat cannot define you, fear cannot chain you, doubt cannot weaken you. With faith you will rise even from zero. With faith you will fulfill the destiny you were chosen to carry. Persistence is the crucible where destiny is tested. Every man may kindle desire. Every man may make decisions. Every man may speak affirmations, but only persistence separates the chosen from the drifting crowd. Persistence is the habit of continuing when all encouragement has fled, when the world mocks, when defeat is heavy, when fear whispers surrender. It is the iron will to endure until victory yields. Do not imagine persistence is a gift. It is a habit. It is built by decision, strengthened by faith, hardened by repeated action. Each time you endure delay without surrender, you engrave persistence deeper into your subconscious. Each time you rise after defeat, you prove to infinite intelligence that you are chosen for more. The world crowns the man who persists, not the one who begins boldly but quits swiftly. Look at R.U. Darby. He joined his uncle in the search for gold. They dug, they struck ore, they invested in machinery. For a moment, fortune seemed certain. Then the vein vanished. They drilled further but found nothing. Discouraged, they surrendered. They sold the machinery to a junk man. That junk man consulted an engineer, drilled a few feet deeper, and struck millions. Darby had quit 3 feet from gold. That lesson haunted him, but he chose to learn. He resolved never again to quit at the first defeat. He entered the insurance business. Each time a prospect refused, he remembered the gold he left behind. He persisted until the no became yes. He built a fortune larger than the gold might have given. The difference was persistence. Failure taught him, and he obeyed the lesson. Abraham Lincoln suffered endless defeats. He failed in business. He lost elections. He was mocked as weak and foolish. Yet he persisted. His definite aim, to preserve the Union, never wavered. His defeats became his training. His endurance became his crown. By the time destiny tested him with war, his persistence had been engraved so deeply that no defeat could break him. He proved that persistence alone decides history. Henry Ford faced lawsuits, ridicule, bankruptcy. His own men doubted him. Financiers deserted him. Yet he persisted. He held to his definite aim of building a car for the multitude. He refined his methods, but never surrendered his purpose. His persistence bent rivals, lawsuits, and ridicule into stepping stones. The world drives his cars today because one man refused surrender. Edison failed thousands of times before the lamp burned. Any man of lesser persistence would have quit long before. But Edison declared, "I have not failed. I have found 10,000 ways that will not work." His persistence redefined failure. It became progress. His aura grew so steady that his assistants endured with him. Infinite intelligence crowned his persistence with light that still burns in your home. Say this with me: I persist until victory is won. Delay cannot break me. Declare it with force. Each time you repeat it, you engrave persistence deeper. Each time you act upon it, you harden it into habit. Each time you endure, you prove to yourself that surrender is not an option. This is the oath of the chosen. This is the test that crowns destiny. The drifter begins eagerly but quits quickly. He grows weary at the first delay, discouraged at the first defeat, frightened at the first criticism. He shifts from aim to aim, excuse to excuse, path to path. He convinces himself he is wise, but in truth he is weak. His aura radiates surrender. Men sense it and distrust him. Fortune flees from him. He dies with nothing finished, nothing crowned, nothing remembered. The decisive man persists. He endures storms. He withstands ridicule. He outlasts enemies. He refines methods but never abandons purpose. His aura radiates endurance. Men trust him even when they do not understand him. Fortune yields to him, for it respects only those who endure. Infinite intelligence crowns him because persistence is the final proof of faithfulness. Persistence transforms temporary defeats into permanent triumphs. Every defeat carries the seed of an equal or greater success. But that seed is invisible to the faithless. Only the man of persistence finds it. Only the man of persistence harvests it. To the quitter, defeat is final. To the persistent, defeat is instruction. The difference is destiny itself. You must expect defeat, delay, discouragement. They are part of the law. They are the training ground of persistence. If you fear them, you will surrender. If you welcome them as instruction, you will grow stronger. Each defeat is a hammer striking your character. Each delay is a fire tempering your will. Each discouragement is a weight strengthening your soul. Persist, and these tests will forge you into steel. Say again, I persist until victory is won. Delay cannot break me. Speak it at night when defeat weighs heavily. Speak it at dawn when discouragement whispers. Speak it when others mock. Each repetition silences fear. Each act of persistence engraves courage. Each day of endurance brightens your aura until men feel your inevitability. Do not imagine persistence as blind stubbornness. Stubbornness clings to error. Persistence refines method, but never surrenders purpose. Lincoln replaced generals, but never abandoned the Union. Ford redesigned machines, but never abandoned his aim. Edison altered experiments, but never abandoned the lamp. The wise persist in aim, but adapt in method. This is mastery. Every man is tested. The greater the destiny, the greater the test. Infinite intelligence does not crown the faint of heart. It crowns only those who prove themselves faithful. Persistence is the proof. If you endure, you are chosen. If you surrender, you betray your destiny. The test cannot be avoided. You must face it. Therefore, I command you, persist. Write your plan. Endure delays. Embrace defeats as instruction. Stand firm when the world mocks. Refuse surrender when fear whispers. Persist until victory is won. For when you do, your crown will be certain. Your destiny will be secured. Your name will be remembered. Say it one final time, slowly, with conviction. I persist until victory is won. Delay cannot break me. When this oath is engraved in your soul, nothing can stop you. No storm, no ridicule, no defeat, no delay. You will be inevitable. You will be crowned. You will fulfill the destiny for which you were chosen. No man rises alone. He may imagine himself solitary, boast of independence, claim self-made greatness, yet if you examine closely, you will always find other minds, other hearts, other wills in harmony with his. Behind every fortune stands alliance. Behind every enduring empire stands a circle of unified purpose. Behind every name remembered stands a mastermind. The mastermind is not chance. It is law. When two or more minds unite with perfect harmony around a definite aim, a new force is created. This force is greater than the sum of its parts. It multiplies courage, sharpens imagination, strengthens persistence, and brightens aura until the world cannot resist it. The mastermind is the unseen current of multiplied power. Andrew Carnegie confessed openly that the secret of his steel empire was not merely his own skill, but the alliances he forged. He surrounded himself with able engineers, organizers, and financiers. He united them in harmony around his definite purpose. Together, they created an aura so powerful that rivals bent, markets opened, fortunes multiplied. Carnegie's genius was not only in steel, but in assembling and directing his mastermind. Henry Ford also drew strength from alliance. He carried burning desire and faith, but he did not stand alone. He united with men of skill who solved problems he could not solve. He drew inspiration from Thomas Edison's friendship. Their shared belief multiplied each man's courage. Without these alliances, Ford's vision might have remained a dream. With them, it filled the world with automobiles. Thomas Edison's laboratory was itself a mastermind. He was called a genius, but he confessed that his success was built upon the work of many assistants, each contributing thought and effort. Their minds, united in harmony, produced inventions that changed civilization. Edison directed the current, but the current was born of unity. His laboratory was a furnace of multiplied thought. Abraham Lincoln, too, though often depicted as solitary, was sustained by a cabinet of strong minds. Some were rivals, Yet under his definite purpose they found harmony. Their combined wisdom carried the nation through war. Lincoln's aura was steady, but multiplied by the master mind, it became unbreakable. Without their counsel, his burden might have crushed him. With them, he endured. The drifter rejects alliance. He says, "No one can be trusted. I must do everything myself." His pride isolates him. His fear poisons him. His aura is dim, his progress slow, his reach small. He exhausts himself in tasks that could be shared. He starves for ideas that could be multiplied. He dies unknown, a lone candle flickering in the storm. Say this with me. I unite in harmony with chosen allies. Together our field commands destiny. Speak it with conviction. Each time you declare it, you teach your subconscious that unity is power. Each time you practice it, you strengthen your aura. Each ally in harmony brightens your radiance. Each discordant partner dims it. Choose carefully, for your alliances decide your destiny. Do not mistake quantity for power. Better one faithful ally in harmony than a dozen half-hearted companions. Better 2 united in purpose than 50 bound by discord. Harmony is the condition. Definite aim is the fuel. Without these, alliance is poison. With them, it is multiplied force. Guard harmony as sacred. Nurture trust as treasure. Defend unity as life. Infinite intelligence flows more freely through harmony. When minds unite sincerely, ideas arrive that no one mind could summon alone. Inspiration flashes, guidance appears, strength multiplies. Men have told me that their greatest insights came not in solitude but in alliance. This is not accident, it is law. The Creator rewards unity with power. Look again at Charles Schwab. He rose from obscurity not only because of his service, but because of his loyalty and harmony with Carnegie's purpose. His faithfulness multiplied his own aura until he became president of the empire. His fortune was not built in isolation, but in alliance. He proved the law. Harmony with greatness multiplies greatness. The mastermind is also the safeguard of persistence. Alone, a man may falter. United, men sustain each other. When one grows weary, the other strengthens him. When one doubts, the other affirms. When one falls, the other lifts. Persistence becomes inevitable when men march in harmony. This is why armies, companies, nations endure. It is not the strength of one, but of many in unity. Say it again. I unite in harmony with chosen allies. Together our field commands destiny. Write it, repeat it, engrave it upon your soul. Seek men of faith, definiteness, persistence. Avoid complainers, cynics, doubters, for their aura poisons. Unite only with those who lift, never with those who drain. For the master mind is sacred, and its strength is decided by the quality of its members. Do not delay forming your master mind. Begin with one ally who shares your purpose. Meet often, exchange ideas, encourage one another, hold each other to account, guard harmony as fiercely as treasure. In time, you will feel the current grow. Ideas will flow, courage will multiply, opportunities will appear. Your aura will blaze with multiplied force. The chosen are never crowned alone. They are crowned because they built alliances. Carnegie, Ford, Edison, Lincoln, Washington, all were sustained by others. Their genius was multiplied by unity. Their aura was brightened by harmony. Their destinies were secured by alliance. The drifter who refuses alliance betrays his destiny. The decisive man who builds it secures his crown. Therefore, I command you, form your mastermind, unite with faith, serve with loyalty, persist with harmony, multiply your aura until it cannot be ignored. This is the law of unity. This is the multiplication of power. This is the step that lifts the chosen from greatness to immortality. Say it one final time. I unite in harmony with chosen allies. Together our field commands destiny. When this law governs your alliances, you will never be weak again. You will be multiplied, you will be crowned, You will fulfill the destiny for which you were chosen. There is a reason you are restless. There is a reason you dream. There is a reason you feel within you a vision no one else seems to carry. That reason is simple. You were chosen for more. Infinite intelligence does not scatter great desire like seeds upon barren ground. It plants it deliberately in souls that are meant to obey it. If you feel the fire, it is proof of calling. The question is not whether you were chosen. The question is whether you will choose yourself. The covenant is this: to take that fire, that whisper, that restless urge, and bind it daily to infinite intelligence through faith, gratitude, and decision. It is the inner agreement that your life is not an accident, that your desire is not trivial, that your destiny is not negotiable. It is the vow that you will act as if failure were impossible, that you will persist as if delay were instruction, that you will serve as if abundance were certain. This covenant cannot be forged in noise. It is built in silence. Each night before you sleep, each morning before the day begins, you must retreat into the inner court of your mind. There, in the stillness, declare gratitude for what you already possess, no matter how small. Declare your definite purpose as if it were already fact. Release fear and complaint. Impress upon your subconscious the law of your destiny. This is the covenant, and it is the source of radiance. Booker T. Washington is proof. Born in bondage, surrounded by prejudice, limited by poverty, he might have surrendered to despair. Yet he kept his inner temple filled with faith, gratitude, and vision. He communed with infinite intelligence daily. His aura radiated such calm authority that men who might have resisted him were compelled to assist him. He built schools, influenced leaders, and left a legacy of strength. His greatness was not in circumstance, but in covenant. Abraham Lincoln, in the darkest hours of civil war, when defeat loomed and the nation trembled, often retreated into silence. He prayed, he reflected, he communed with infinite intelligence. From that covenant he drew calmness that steadied millions. His aura carried a serenity stronger than armies. That serenity was not natural. It was cultivated in the inner temple. His covenant with destiny made him unbreakable. Thomas Edison spoke of flashes of inspiration that arrived suddenly, as if whispered from outside himself. These flashes were not accidents. They were the fruit of a mind trained in persistence, faith, and silence. He impressed his subconscious daily with his definite purpose. In return, infinite intelligence supplied ideas beyond reason. His covenant with the unseen crowned him with inventions that altered civilization. The drifter neglects his covenant. He fills his mind with gossip, fear, complaint. He speaks daily of weakness, imagines sickness, magnifies poverty. His subconscious accepts these decrees as law. His aura radiates dimness. Men sense his uncertainty and distrust him. Opportunity avoids him. He blames fate, not knowing he poisoned his own temple. He was chosen for more, but he betrayed the covenant. Say this with me: I was chosen for more. I enter my inner court. Infinite intelligence walks with me. Declare it morning and night. Each time you repeat it, your subconscious accepts it more deeply. Each time you act upon it, your aura brightens. Each time you persist in it, infinite intelligence supplies more. Soon it will no longer be ritual, but reality. You will feel destiny guiding you. This covenant is not optional. Without it, the other steps weaken. Desire without covenant becomes restless hunger. Decision without covenant becomes brittle pride. Faith without covenant becomes shallow optimism. Persistence without covenant becomes weary labor. The master mind without covenant becomes mere association. Only covenant with infinite intelligence crowns them all with radiance. Mark this: the dream within you is evidence of your choosing. Infinite intelligence does not waste. It selects, it calls, it appoints. If you feel restless for more, it is because you are called for more. To ignore this call is betrayal. To obey it is fulfillment. You were not chosen to drift, to fear, to hesitate, to die with your song unsung. You were chosen to rise, to act, to persist, to create, to command. Carnegie felt this call. A poor boy laboring in a factory, yet restless for riches. He obeyed, he built alliances, he rendered service, he formed his master mind, he persisted. His covenant with destiny crowned him with fortune. Ford felt this call. An obscure mechanic, restless for machines to serve the multitude. He obeyed. He declared, he decided, he persisted, he created. His covenant crowned him with empire. The drifter feels the same whisper but excuses it. He says, "Not me. I am not ready. I am not worthy. I am too poor. I am too weak." He silences the voice until it grows faint. He buries the fire until it smolders. He convinces himself he was never chosen, but the torment of regret proves he was. He dies with excuses in his mouth and ashes in his heart. The decisive man hears the whisper and obeys. He declares, "I was chosen for more." He writes his purpose. He repeats it daily. He acts as if failure were impossible. He persists through delay. He allies with others. He communes with infinite intelligence. His aura radiates certainty. Men trust him. Fortune bends to him. History remembers him. Say it again. I was chosen for more. I enter my inner court. Infinite intelligence walks with me. Speak it until you feel calm strength rising within. Speak it until fear weakens, doubt flees, hesitation dies. Speak it until your aura radiates quiet authority. When this law is engraved in your subconscious, you will never again feel powerless. You will know you are appointed, and your destiny is inevitable. This covenant transforms even defeat. Every obstacle becomes instruction. Every delay becomes preparation. Every criticism becomes refinement. The drifter sees problems. The chosen sees training. The drifter curses the storm. The chosen sees the storm as proof he is meant to endure. This is the difference covenant creates. It turns life itself into a servant of destiny. Lincoln endured endless defeats before his crown. Washington endured prejudice before his influence. Edison endured thousands of failures before his light. Ford endured ridicule before his empire. Each was tested, but each kept covenant. Each proved chosen. Each fulfilled destiny. Their examples are law for you. They prove that the covenant is the final step, the crowning step, the decisive step. Therefore, I command you, keep your covenant, begin tonight, enter silence, speak gratitude, declare your aim, affirm your faith, release fear. Do this daily. Guard your inner court as sacred. Do not allow gossip, complaint, or doubt to enter. Fill it only with definiteness, faith, persistence, and gratitude. With this practice, your aura will blaze with a power that cannot be resisted. Say it one final time with solemn conviction. I was chosen for more. I enter my inner court. Infinite intelligence walks with me. Let it engrave itself upon your soul. For this is the crown of all steps. This is the proof of your calling. This is the covenant that guarantees your destiny. You were chosen for more. Now live as if failure were impossible. You must now live, speak, move, and think as if the entire world is depending on you, because in some unseen but absolute way it is. This is not poetry, this is law. Every word you speak carries a consequence. Every decision you delay carries a cost. There is a man somewhere behind you, watching how you carry yourself in silence. A boy wondering if greatness is still possible. A woman doubting whether strength still exists in men. A future leader waiting for someone to rise so he can believe again. This world has enough men who drift, enough men who wait, enough men who ask for permission to be great. But you are now called to stand apart. You must act as if your obedience to purpose will determine whether 1,000 others rise or never begin. This is the sacred burden of power, and only those who accept it can wield it. This is not about success for success's sake. This is not about reputation or applause. This is about becoming the living example of what it means to walk in decision, to speak with conviction, to act with fire, and to labor with excellence even when no one claps, because history is watching and the future is taking notes. If you fail, the man behind you may fall. If you compromise, you give others the excuse to quit. If you lower your standard, you give society permission to expect less from itself. But if you rise, if you choose to master yourself, then you give the silent, sleeping, struggling millions a reason to wake up. So do not merely hear this message. Receive it. Let it shake you. Let it disrupt every excuse you've carried. Sit upright. Listen with the weight this moment deserves, because from this day forward, your life is no longer about comfort. It is about consequence. You are now a man upon whom history may rise or fall. You must act like failure is not an option, because it isn't. Most men walk the earth asleep. They eat, they work, they speak, and they pass the time, but their minds are not under control. Their days are lived without purpose. They drift. And worst of all, they convince themselves that their actions matter to no one. This lie, this poisonous falsehood, is what keeps the majority poor, broken, and spiritually asleep. But you, if you are to rise, must accept a different law. You must now live, speak, act, and decide as if your life is not your own, as if the whole world is counting on you to rise to your purpose, because in truth it is. One man in possession of his mind, his plan, and his faith can redirect the course of generations, and if you fail to take that mantle, the line behind you breaks. You have been assigned a task by infinite intelligence. That task was not written in ink or proclaimed with trumpets. It was sown into your soul. You feel it when you sit in silence and sense that you were made for something more. That ache, that burden, that whisper is your appointment, a divine contract that only you can fulfill. The tragedy is that most ignore this appointment. They drown it in distraction. They suppress it with doubt. They let fear convince them that someone else will carry the weight. But I say to you plainly, no one else is coming. The task is yours. And if you fall short, the chain breaks. The generations that could have been elevated through your obedience will suffer for your hesitation. Responsibility is not a preference. It is a spiritual law. And you are either obeying that law or violating it with every choice. When a man rejects responsibility, life punishes him. Not always immediately, but inevitably. He feels the slow rot of regret, the weakening of will, the absence of peace. That is the price of evasion. Life does not reward you for mere survival. It does not honor the man who avoids pain or seeks comfort. Life rewards the man who commands it, the one who stands up and declares, I will carry this weight. I will fulfill my purpose regardless of hardship. That man becomes magnetic. He is granted access to strength others never touch. You must now install within your spirit the identity that creates destiny. I am the type of man who cannot afford to lose focus, for my future and the future of others depends on me. Say it aloud. Feel it settle into your spine. Let it burn the excuses you have carried. From this moment forward, you are no longer a lone individual seeking self-improvement. You are a steward of unseen responsibilities. There are souls behind you who will either rise or fall depending on whether you master yourself. Without a definite chief aim, you are a dead man walking. You may have breath in your lungs and food on your plate, but your power is buried. To live without aim is to volunteer for spiritual poverty. It is to become a shell through which the winds of the world blow without resistance. That is not living. That is drifting. So I now give you the ritual that awakens power. Write your chief aim. Place it on your mirror. Speak it aloud twice a day, every day. It matters not whether you feel ready. Read it when you are strong. Read it when you are weak. Read it when your voice trembles and your vision is unclear. For each repetition trains your subconscious mind to believe. and what the subconscious believes it creates. Do not insult your own future by neglecting this ritual. This is not idle instruction. It is spiritual machinery. It is the same law that guided the greatest men I have known, and it will not function for the man who approaches it with doubt or indifference. Speak your aim with faith or do not speak at all. Now hear me. If you do not act as if your every step matters, you will fall under the hypnosis of drift. And the devil, yes, that force of laziness, fear, doubt, and distraction, will claim your mind as his own. He will give you comfort, but he will take your purpose. He will give you ease, but steal your strength. Most men are already claimed. They do not wear chains or cry out in pain. No, they smile, they jest, and they sleep, unaware that they are not living their own thoughts. But you must walk another path. You must install urgency, discipline, intention. You must decide that every hour spent without aim is treason to your own soul. The clock is ticking. You think you have time, but time is not your servant. It is your creditor. It charges you for every minute wasted in passivity. The future is not waiting. Someone is waiting on you to become who you were meant to be, and if you do not rise, they may never believe they can. Let me speak to you now of a man who understood this burden, a man who was not wealthy when he began, a man who faced ridicule, defeat, and sorrow, but who carried a purpose heavier than fear. That man was Abraham Lincoln. He did not run for fame. He did not speak for applause. He acted from within. When the weight of a divided nation fell upon him, he did not flinch. He acted as if the world was counting on him, because it was. His silence was calculated. His decisions were deliberate. His rise was not for himself, but for a principle larger than any one man. And because he acted with moral power, his name echoes through eternity. He accepted the burden, and history bent to him. Do not make the mistake of thinking your role is small because your audience is small. The world does not rise through mass movements. It rises when one man decides that his life will be lived on purpose. That man becomes a chain breaker, an anchor for the lost, a spark that lights 1,000 fires. That man can be you, if you are willing to carry what others avoid. You must now begin to see yourself as the center of a divine assignment. You are not an accident. You are not average. You were born to be an example, to live in such a way that others are moved to believe again, to decide again, to stand again. That is your charge. That is the burden of power. So stand tall, shoulders back, eyes forward. No more apologies for wanting more. No more explanations to small minds. No more retreat into comfort. From this day forward, you act as if the whole world is depending on your rise, because in some way it is. Faith is not a soft word. It is not to be whispered or merely hoped for. Faith is the foundation of all power. It is not emotion. It is command. It is the mental position a man assumes when he decides that life will not dictate to him, he will dictate to life. It is the deliberate act of belief, planted through repetition and made permanent through discipline. Most men confuse faith with hope. Hope waits. Faith moves. Hope pleads. Faith declares. Hope is the language of the uncertain. Faith is the weapon of the master. And if you are to rise above fear, mediocrity, and weakness, you must learn to plant faith in your mind until nothing else can grow in its place. You must train belief like a soldier trains his rifle until it obeys without hesitation. You do not need faith in the opinions of others. You do not need faith in favorable conditions. You need faith in the law. And the law is this: what you believe emotionally and repeatedly, you will bring into form. The subconscious mind does not argue. It accepts, it records, it reflects. Speak to it in faith, and it will deliver miracles. Speak to it in fear, and it will deliver ruin. This is the purpose of autosuggestion. Not to make you feel better, but to make you stronger. To replace the vague inner voice of doubt with a chosen and deliberate declaration of truth. These affirmations are not phrases for comfort. They are commands to the subconscious, and your subconscious controls your results. It will either follow your orders or follow your fear. You must speak the words aloud, not once, not when convenient, but daily, at fixed times, with feeling behind them. When you wake, speak. When you retire, speak. And when you do, see the words as already fulfilled. Feel them as present reality. The subconscious responds to emotion, not just language. It must be impressed by the tone of certainty, not the tone of hope. Use these declarations. Plant them into your being. I was born to fulfill a purpose no man can take from me. I will persist until I succeed. I act as if failure is not possible, for I have already decided. Do not wait until you feel strong to say them. Say them when you feel broken. Say them when your back is against the wall. Say them when the world mocks you. For every repetition spoken with conviction adds another stone to the fortress of your belief. This is how empires are built, not in noise, but in repetition. Let me tell you of a man who conquered through faith, not faith in luck, but in the law of belief. Henry Ford was laughed at. Bankers rejected him. Engineers scorned him. Yet he held one vision, a motor car for the common man. He did not waver. He repeated that aim until it filled his being. He acted as if it was already real. And because he believed with certainty, so it became. Ford did not place his faith in machinery. He placed it in the principle that the subconscious, when impressed with definite purpose and belief, would draw to him the minds, plans, resources, and circumstances needed. And it did. That is not superstition. It is not guesswork. It is a law, a spiritual law, and it is available to you now. Faith is not reserved for preachers or mystics. It is the tool of the practical man, the laborer, the entrepreneur, the visionary. You are not excluded. You are invited. But you must obey the rules. Speak your chief aim daily. Declare your belief in it. See it as already accomplished. And never allow contrary thoughts to dwell in your mind. You must not beg life for results. You must demand them, not in arrogance, but in alignment with law. A farmer does not hope the crop will grow. He expects it because he has planted seed, tilled soil, and obeyed the laws of nature. So it is with success. If you speak with faith, act with belief, persist with discipline, life must respond. It has no choice. But beware, this law is neutral. It will grow whatever is planted. If you plant fear, you will reap chaos. If you plant limitation, you will attract barriers. Many a man has believed in disaster more than he has believed in success, and the law, indifferent to right or wrong, has delivered what he ordered. So I ask you, what are you planting? What do you speak about when no one is listening? What do you rehearse in your thoughts? What images live behind your eyes? Are they of defeat? Are they of lack? If so, then you have already written the next chapter of your life, and you must now burn it. Tear it from the soil and replace it with certainty. You must declare now, I believe that what I speak with faith, I shall see. I am becoming the man who receives what he demands of life. I no longer wait for permission to believe. I have already decided. The world does not bend for those who wait. It bends for those who decide and believe. Every great achievement began not with action, but with thought, charged with belief. The Wright brothers believed flight was possible. Edison believed light could be drawn from wire. Carnegie believed poor men could become kings. What do you believe? Let me be plain. There is no power in wishing. There is no reward for vague intentions. There is only law. You must believe in something so strong that the entire world in opposition cannot shake it from your hands. This is not arrogance. It is alignment with infinite intelligence. It is obedience to the invisible order behind all that we see. Every man must choose which thought becomes his master. You will either be ruled by faith or by fear, by belief or by doubt. And you choose not once, but daily, with your words, with your tone, with the energy you carry. Your belief is not invisible. It shows in your step. It shows in your posture. It shows in your eyes. So I ask you now, What do you radiate? What vibration do you cast into the world? Do you carry the presence of a man who knows he cannot fail, or the hesitation of one who doubts his own right to rise? The world cannot help you if you walk in uncertainty, but it will kneel before the man of unshakable belief. You are now armed with truth. Faith is not given, it is built. You build it by repetition, visualization, affirmation, and decision. You do not need 10 years. You need one day, repeated 1,000 times. One belief, driven into the ground of the mind until nothing else can grow. Speak the words, choose the thoughts, hold the vision. The mind you command today becomes the world you live in tomorrow. And when your belief becomes law within you, nothing outside you can deny it. Indecision is the cancer of the soul. It eats silently. It paralyzes without pain. And it is the reason most men die long before they are buried. They wait. They wonder. They ask too many questions. They hesitate. And every hour they delay, their strength leaks, their purpose decays, and their vision fades into the fog of forgotten potential. The masses are not defeated by force. They are defeated by hesitation. It is not failure that ruins them. It is the refusal to decide. They stand on the edge of change, but never leap. They speak of action, but never commit. They pretend to plan, but hide in fear. Understand this. Power begins the moment you decide, and you remove every other option. To decide means to cut off, to burn the bridge behind you, to destroy retreat, to remove the luxury of escape. Until you do this, you are not living. You are lingering. And you cannot possess great power while leaving the door open to doubt. The man who builds an empire does not keep a return ticket. He commits his soul. He declares victory or death. Napoleon Bonaparte understood this law. There was a moment when his men landed upon foreign shores. The battle ahead was uncertain, but he ordered the ships burned. When asked why, he said, "If we leave those boats, we leave the choice of surrender. But without retreat, our only option is victory." That is the spirit you must now carry. You must act like there is no way back. No plan B, no backup dream, no escape hatch. The man who prepares to retreat is already half defeated. The man who acts as if he cannot fail will find that life aligns with his courage. This is not recklessness. It is obedience to the law of power. Power respects certainty. Most men drift because they keep one foot in fear and the other in fantasy. They are not rooted in purpose. They are not defined by decision. They live in hesitation, and that hesitation becomes the rhythm of their days. If you allow it, that rhythm will become your prison. You will feel time pass, but never touch destiny. Say it aloud. I decide, I do not hesitate. I move forward without fear. I am the kind of man who eliminates delay. This identity is not optional. It is necessary. For without it, you will never take the steps required to meet the man you were meant to become. You will always hold back, always second guess, always defer to the opinions of lesser minds. And the power that was placed within you will rot unused. Indecision is the devil's playground. It is the silent assassin of greatness. It never screams. It never threatens. It whispers, "Wait." It says, "Think about it a little longer." It encourages you to survey every possible outcome, to consult the opinions of the unqualified, to convince yourself that more time will bring more courage. But time does not give courage. Decision does. Successful men decide quickly and change their minds slowly. They move with inner clarity. They understand that life rewards momentum, that every hesitation invites resistance, that the world bends for those who act as if it must. Those who fail, they study, they plan, they research, but they do not decide. And because of this, they live as spectators to the success of others. Now take your chief aim, the one you wrote and began to speak aloud, and apply it. Choose one plan, one path, one definite beginning. Act on it now, not tomorrow, not after a perfect strategy is written, not when your confidence is higher. Now, For every sunrise you waste is a page torn from your story, and the pages are not infinite. Understand that life punishes hesitation. Time is not neutral. Time is a creditor. It charges interest. For every dream delayed, the price increases. For every excuse tolerated, the cost grows. The world will not wait for your comfort. It will move on. It will reward the one who stepped forward while you were still seeking clarity. You must develop within you the habit of immediate action. Thought followed by movement, vision followed by decision. Do not seek the feeling of readiness. Seek the identity of decisiveness. Tell yourself, this is who I am now. I act, I commit, I follow through. This identity will produce results where logic never could. Let me remind you of a forgotten law. Every great transformation begins with a violent act of decision. It does not begin with applause. It does not begin with approval. It begins in silence when a man stands alone and says, I will no longer live as I have. That declaration is the start of every revolution. You must carry within you the energy of one who has already succeeded. The world senses indecision. It smells doubt. It responds with resistance. But when it senses authority, true mental conviction, it bends. Doors open, people listen, events arrange themselves, not because you waited, but because you decided. Burn the bridge behind you. Remove the retreat. The man who gives himself the option to quit will always use it. But the man who places himself beyond the point of return will find strength he did not know he had. His mind sharpens, his will hardens, his soul awakens. Because now, failure is no longer a possibility. It is a betrayal, and that is how you must now live. As if to fail would not only hurt you, but would betray your purpose. Betray the people depending on your example. Betray the generations behind you. When you see your life as a sacred obligation, decision becomes easy. There is no choice but forward. There is no question but, when do I begin? And the answer is always, now. You have lingered long enough in hesitation. You have studied, read, consumed, and considered. But you are not here to consume. You are here to create, to move, to embody the truth you say you believe. And there is only one way to do that. Decide. Act. Burn the bridge. Begin again with no way back. A single action performed once has no power, but an action repeated daily at the same hour with the same intensity and the same intention becomes a law within the mind. That law is known as hypnotic rhythm. It is nature's silent enforcement mechanism. It does not argue. It does not ask. It simply takes what you do most often and makes it permanent. Most men are unaware of this law, and because of that, they are ruled by it. They eat in rhythm. They doubt in rhythm. They speak in weakness and think in fear over and over until that rhythm becomes who they are. Their personality is not their own. It is the product of repeated thoughtlessness. They are not free men. They are patterned machines. But the man of purpose uses hypnotic rhythm deliberately. He trains it. He molds it. He forces it to serve him. Every day he selects the thoughts he will repeat, the words he will say, the tasks he will complete. And because he does so consistently, those actions harden into identity. The man becomes what he does, just as surely as the sculptor becomes his chisel. You do not rise by effort once. You rise by habit built daily. You are not the result of a single victory, but of 100 repetitions. The world does not reward occasional greatness. It rewards consistent, deliberate discipline. The man who masters his daily routine becomes master over his future. He needs no motivation, for his movement is built into the rhythm of his being. Understand this. Every thought you allow to dwell in your mind is either strengthening a weakness or building power. There is no neutral. You are either ascending or declining. Each repeated complaint weakens your posture. Each repeated excuse erodes your self-belief. But each declaration of purpose, spoken in rhythm, strengthens your grip on destiny. Picture a train. When still, it appears harmless. But once in motion, once its rhythm is established, it becomes a force that nothing can stop. So it is with your mind. So it is with your habits. Once the rhythm is established, you cannot help but move forward. Resistance fades. Doubt dissolves. Your actions become automatic. And those actions determine your fate. This is why the successful build rituals. They do not leave their minds to chance. They rise at set times. They read aloud their chief aim. They immerse themselves in their purpose before the world's noise begins. They review their goals at night. They reflect, they correct, they repeat, not once but daily until they cannot not do it. Thomas Edison did not invent the light bulb through inspiration. He created it through rhythm, focused attention, relentless testing. He failed hundreds of times, but each day he returned to the laboratory, not because of excitement, but because the rhythm had already taken hold. His habit pulled him forward even when motivation could not. Let me give you the truth plainly. I train myself like an athlete of thought. Every day I build the man I have decided to become. What I do once, I do again. What I do again becomes who I am. These declarations are not opinions. They are instructions to the subconscious mind. They are the formula by which weak men become powerful. Each repetition is a brick. Each day of obedience is a stone laid into the foundation of power. And soon a castle is formed, impregnable to fear, to distraction, to drift. Now I challenge you. List your daily rhythms. Write them down with honesty. Which are making you powerful? Which are making you poor? Do you rise at your chosen time, or do you drift into the day? Do you speak purpose aloud, or do you mutter doubt? Do you nourish your mind or feed it poison? These are not small questions. They are the mirror of your destiny. You cannot escape the rhythm, so you must build it with precision. Decide what kind of man you will become, then design his daily actions. Speak them, practice them, schedule them, repeat them until your body moves without question and your mind submits without resistance. This is not theory. It is law. It is the only way transformation becomes permanent. If you do not build a rhythm of success, you will default to a rhythm of failure. You will slip into distraction. You will follow the crowd. You will wake without direction. You will waste your hours in amusement. And you will look back years from now and wonder where your strength went. And the answer will be into repetition of the wrong things. You must now understand, repetition is the sculptor of greatness. Without it, you are nothing but a wishful thinker. With it, you become inevitable. Let others seek novelty and stimulation. You seek mastery through repetition. You perform the same small task until it becomes divine. You speak the same phrase until your soul believes it. There is no shortcut. There is no cheat. There is only rhythm. And rhythm is built one morning at a time, one evening reflection at a time, one deliberate word at a time. You are either installing the program of power or running the program of drift. But you will run a program. That is the nature of the human mind. This is the moment you must become a craftsman, a builder, a sculptor of thought. No more guessing. No more waiting for inspiration. Choose your rituals. Lock them in. Begin them tomorrow. Begin them with your alarm, with your posture, with your affirmations, with your first decision of the day, and repeat it without fail until rhythm takes over. Once it does, you will no longer need to fight for momentum. You will become momentum. You will rise automatically. Speak power without thinking. Act without delay. And the world will begin to move with you because you are no longer pausing to negotiate with hesitation. Your identity is set. Your rhythm is established. And your life will rise to match it. Power does not scream. Power does not chase. Power does not seek applause. Real power moves in silence. It walks with still eyes, calm breath, and an unshakable will. The man who holds his tongue, who controls his reactions, who does not leap to defend himself, that man cannot be defeated, for he has placed his power under his own command. Weak men believe that silence is submission, but silence in the hands of the definite man is a sword. It cuts through the noise. It confuses the critics. It breaks the rhythm of emotional reaction. He who can remain silent while the world provokes him, he who can walk forward while others cry out for distraction, is a man who owns himself. Self-control is strength. Indifference is armor. Fortitude is weaponry. And the man who forges these by daily discipline becomes dangerous. The world cannot bend him. The weak cannot tempt him. The critics cannot derail him. His eyes remain fixed on the goal, and his emotions remain under his authority, not theirs. You must now become that man, not through aggression, not through noise, but through inner discipline. Begin by mastering your reaction. When you are challenged, pause. When you are criticized, pause. When your emotions rise, pause. The pause is your throne. In it, you choose response over reaction, and that choice builds power. This is the essence of what I call controlled attention, the ability to direct the full force of your mental and emotional energy toward a single purpose without being pulled aside by the meaningless chatter of the crowd. The average man cannot focus. He is pulled by every sound, every emotion, every comment, but you must not be average. Charles M. Schwab, trained under the steel hand of Andrew Carnegie, was not the loudest man. But he was unshakable. His presence was calm, his words were chosen, his movements were deliberate. And because he mastered inner indifference to provocation, he became the highest paid executive in the world. His stillness commanded respect. You must now build that same stillness within yourself, not because it feels good, but because it is necessary. The world is loud, the masses shout, the drifter reacts. But the man of purpose decides in silence, then moves like steel. He does not explain. He does not beg. He does not perform for approval. He acts and lets the result speak in his place. You must now train the following mindset. I am silent when others shout. I am still when others panic. I act, not react. This is not poetic. This is survival. Every time you react in weakness, you transfer power. Every time you explain your purpose to those who cannot understand it, you dilute its strength. And every time you let the opinions of others shape your emotions, you lose command over the one kingdom that matters, your mind. You are not obligated to convince the world of your direction. You are not required to explain your motives to those who have never carried purpose themselves. Your proof will be your results. And if they cannot yet see the vision you carry, then let them wait. Their doubt is not your concern. Their criticism is not your compass. Silence is not cowardice. It is calculation. It is how the strong preserve their energy. While others waste words, you build. While others argue, you execute. While others scream for validation, you remain unseen until your work is complete. And when it is, you will not need to speak. Your life will thunder where your lips were quiet. Beware of this truth. The man who breaks his silence to defend himself forfeits power, for he has revealed insecurity. He has confessed uncertainty. The man who knows his direction does not argue with those who cannot see. He walks, and in time they will either follow or vanish behind him. But his focus remains unshaken. Practice this. When insulted, remain composed. When overlooked, remain committed. When misunderstood, remain consistent. These are the tests that separate the master from the mob. The stronger you become, the quieter you must be. Let the weak exhaust themselves in noise. You, however, will build in stillness. Declare now, my silence is power. My focus is sacred. I choose what enters my mind, and I reject all that does not serve my purpose. You will find that the moment you become still within, the world begins to lose its power over you. The media cannot shake you. The critics cannot reach you. The noise becomes background, and your purpose becomes everything. This is how you become immune to distraction. This is how you become unbreakable. And understand this. Confidence makes no noise. It does not perform. It does not plead. It builds in silence, through discipline, through repetition, through refusal to engage with nonsense. And when it erupts, it does so with precision. That is the confidence of a man who has mastered himself. You are not here to entertain. You are not here to convince. You are here to execute a mission. That mission is sacred, and sacred things are not thrown before the swine of public opinion. They are kept close, protected, sharpened, and when revealed, they transform all who witness them. But first, they must be forged in silence. You have within you the seed of this power. It only needs to be cultivated. Begin today. Rise early. Speak less. Think longer. Act with deliberation. Observe without responding. Train your thoughts to move in one direction. Guard your words as if they were gold. In time, you will become the man others turn to, not because you speak, but because you have become undeniable. A man is measured not by what he does when compelled, but by what he chooses to do when no one is watching. The truly great do not wait for recognition to act with excellence. They do not require applause to put forth their full strength. They understand this truth. You are always watched by conscience, by future generations, and by infinite intelligence. The world remembers those who gave more than they were paid for, who worked not for immediate compensation but for principle, who served not because it was demanded but because it was right. These men are few, but their names endure. Their work outlasts them, and their rewards come in forms money could never have purchased. This is the foundation of the habit of going the extra mile. It is not merely a strategy, it is a spiritual law. Render more service than you are paid for, and do it cheerfully. Do it with energy. Do it as if the reputation of your soul depends on it, because in truth, it does. Every act done beyond what is required becomes spiritual capital. The man who does only what is asked will always be a servant. But the man who exceeds expectations becomes a magnet for opportunity. Employers notice, clients remember, partners gravitate. And even if the world seems slow to reward, do not doubt that infinite intelligence keeps perfect records. Let me tell you of a man who lived by this law, Andrew Carnegie. As a young boy working in a telegraph office, he did more than deliver messages. He learned the business. He stayed late. He memorized train schedules. He improved every process he touched, not because he was told, but because he chose to be excellent. Years later, when he built an empire, he selected only those men who had shown the same habit, not the loudest, not the most educated, but the ones who went beyond duty. This law creates reputation. It creates magnetism. It builds self-respect. The man who knows he gave everything he had walks taller. He needs no praise. His reward is internal. His confidence is earned. He becomes immune to the low wages of mediocrity because he knows he is planting seed, and all seeds faithfully planted yield. Now engrave these affirmations into your daily speech. I work as if my name depends on it, because it does. I give more than I am paid for, and life pays me in secret. I serve with enthusiasm, and the world is compelled to reward me. Let others ask, what's the least I can do? You ask, what more can I give? Let others calculate their effort by their paycheck. You calculate yours by your purpose. For while they sleep peacefully in their mediocrity, you are building a legacy that cannot be erased. Here is a law you must understand. Life multiplies what is given without demand. It withholds from the stingy. It forgets the lazy. It delays reward for the casual. but it overflows for the man who gives with joy, with faith, and with no hesitation. You must now make this habit part of your identity. You must become the man who stays 5 minutes longer, who delivers more value than expected, who fixes what others ignore, who serves even when the crowd says, "Why bother?" And in doing so, you separate yourself from 95% of the world. Understand this truth. Your reputation is being built at all times, not just when you are seen, but especially when you are not. The quality of your thoughts, the sharpness of your execution, the care you bring to small tasks, these invisible acts form a visible destiny. Do not believe for a moment that great men wait to be assigned. They assign themselves. They take initiative. They improve everything they touch. And because of this, they become irreplaceable. Their names pass from mouth to mouth. Their results carry authority. And they never lack opportunity, for they created it by force of habit. You must now live with the awareness that you are watched by history. One day, your name will be spoken by those who come after you, with honor or with pity. And what they say will not be based on your possessions, but on your contribution. Did you serve with strength? Did you act with purpose? Did you leave every room better than you found it? Every act matters. Every detail speaks. Every silent moment of extra effort sends a message to the future. Even if no man sees it now, you see it, and infinite intelligence sees it. And the law, though silent, never forgets a seed planted in good faith. Make this your command. Today, in silence, do twice what is expected, not for praise, not for points, but for identity, for reputation, for inner strength, for the rhythm you are establishing within your spirit. Let your soul become conditioned to excellence, not as an event, but as a way of life. And when fatigue whispers, "Enough," let your heart respond, "Just a little more." When no one claps, let your conscience say, "Well done." When you could cut corners, let your integrity answer, "Not in my name." These moments, though small, become the weight that tips the scale of your future. Work not for reward, but as a representative of the man you have chosen to become. A man of dignity, of purpose, of honor, one who could never leave a job undone, one who raises the standard just by walking into the room. Let that man take over your every action, for one day they will ask, "How did he rise?" And the answer will not be luck. It will not be timing. It will not be talent. It will be this: he gave more than he was paid for. He worked as if history was watching, and he never once lowered his standard. No man ever rose far alone. No great achievement, no fortune, no empire, no invention has ever been the product of a single isolated will. Power, true multiplying power, is born when two or more minds unite in perfect harmony for the attainment of a definite purpose. This I have called the mastermind principle. It is not theory, it is law. You may possess desire, you may possess skill, you may even possess vision. But unless you align your mind with others who believe as you believe, decide as you decide, and act as you act, your energy will be limited. One man alone can burn brightly, yes, but when joined with other focused, definite minds, his light becomes a wildfire. A mastermind group is not a meeting. It is not a casual friendship. It is not idle talk. It is a spiritual alliance formed through harmonious purpose. It is two or more minds, each fixed on the same aim, each feeding strength, belief, strategy, and conviction into one another until the third mind, greater than the sum of the parts, is born. The moment this third mind is formed, invisible forces begin to move. Ideas arrive that none could think of alone. Plans become clearer. Energy increases. Faith becomes contagious. Each man becomes sharper, stronger, and more focused simply by being in the presence of aligned thought. It is not magic, it is law. Let me give you examples. Edison, though brilliant, did not labor alone. He built teams. He drew from minds of precision, of curiosity, of purpose. His laboratory was not a workplace. It was a forge for the mastermind. Every invention, every breakthrough came through the friction and fire of unified thinking. Carnegie, though wise, did not build steel empires by himself. He surrounded himself with men of decision. He said openly, "I am not the smartest, but I attract to me those whose intelligence I require." He had a definite purpose, and he aligned with others who sharpened it. That is the secret most miss. Lincoln, though visionary, did not preserve a nation alone. He chose a cabinet of rivals, men with strong minds, different views, yet all harmonized toward one definite aim. Together, they created more than Lincoln could have done alone. That is power, that is wisdom, that is law. Now you must ask yourself, with whom is my mind aligned? Are the men around you definite or drifting? Do they feed your fire or dilute your vision? Do they speak words of power or poison? You cannot afford to be neutral in your associations. You become the average of their purpose, their energy, their belief. Command yourself now. I attract minds of vision and decision. I give energy to the circle. I do not drain it. I rise through harmony with other focused minds. This is not poetry. This is architecture. You are building the structure through which success must pass. If your daily companions are aimless, if your conversations are low in purpose, then your outcomes will reflect that vibration. There is no escape from the influence of environment, so you must build one that multiplies you. I instruct you now to perform this exercise. List the 5 people with whom you spend the most time. Beside each name, write their dominant attitude, their average energy, their standard of thought, their clarity of aim, their willingness to grow. Then ask, do these minds multiply me or diminish me? If you find that your circle is costing you growth, you must remove yourself, not with anger, not with cruelty, but with definiteness. You are a steward of power. You cannot afford to sit in the company of doubt and drift. You cannot rise while chained to men who accept mediocrity. They may be kind, but they are not aligned. And alignment is the law of power. Find one man who believes in your dream, one man of action, of conviction. Sharpen each other. Meet weekly. Share goals. Speak your chief aims aloud. Challenge each other. Pray over your plans. Review progress. Repeat this rhythm until your bond becomes unbreakable and your plans unstoppable. Understand this. The right association will do more to raise your belief than 1,000 books. One word from a committed mind can unlock an idea, correct a weakness, restore your faith. The mastermind does not just add, it multiplies. And without it, you are operating beneath your potential. You may ask, what if I cannot find such men? Then begin alone, but speak aloud daily. I am attracting the right minds into my life. I am prepared to serve and strengthen my mastermind allies. I release all weak association, and I walk now in harmony with those called to build with me. This declaration sets a new frequency in motion. You will be drawn to the right people. You will begin to notice the ones who speak in alignment. You will begin to see who is serious and who is casual. And when you recognize a builder, approach him. Share your aim. Speak your truth. Begin the alliance. Let me warn you, the mastermind cannot be formed with those who do not walk in purpose. It cannot be formed with the jealous, the sarcastic, the casual, the unfocused. It must be formed with the definite, with the faithful, with the ones who are ready to labor for something higher. If this means you must be selective, good. Your future demands it. The greatest mistake a man can make is to attempt greatness while surrounded by smallness. Not small in size, but small in belief, small in discipline, small in vision. That environment will shrink you, but the mastermind will expand you. And once you experience it, you will never again settle for empty talk. So from this day forward, act as a man who is building a council of power. Speak with integrity. Listen with purpose. Share only your definite aims. Do not gossip. Do not waste time. Do not engage with the trivial. For every word spoken in the mastermind circle should sharpen belief, clarify plan, or stir action. When you walk in unity with other strong minds, infinite intelligence joins your work. The plans become clearer, the obstacles shrink, the courage grows, and your purpose begins to move with a speed and force you never knew possible. That is the secret of the giants, and it is now yours. You are not just a man, you are a message. You are a signal to the world of what is possible, what is permitted, and what is demanded. Someone is watching you. Someone is learning from you. Someone is deciding how much effort to give, how much courage to summon, how much discipline to maintain based on the example you set. You may not know their name. You may never meet their eyes, but they exist. A son, a younger brother, a stranger, a colleague, a neighbor, a man asleep to his potential, a man near surrender. He is watching, and he is asking, does any man still walk in power? Does any man still live with honor, with purpose, with fire? And if you fail, if you lower your standard, if you abandon your aim, he may never begin. If you retreat, he may never rise. If you compromise, he may believe there is no such thing as integrity. That is the weight, that is the burden, and that is your sacred assignment, to live as an example that others can follow without fear. This is not ego. This is responsibility. The great do not act for applause. They act because they understand that history is written by those who obey purpose in silence. And when the noise fades and the trials pass and the years reveal what was truly valuable, it is always the example of one man that remains. Act like a leader, even when no one follows, because leadership is not about control, it is about obedience to the higher law. The law that demands you speak with purpose, move with courage, and labor with discipline, even when it feels like no one is watching. For the truth is, God is watching. The future is watching. Your legacy is watching. Let me remind you of a forgotten truth. You may not know the full impact of your success for 10 years, or 20, or even in your lifetime, but still you must press on. The tree you plant today may feed a generation unborn. The word you speak today may be the sentence that keeps another man alive tomorrow. An unknown man once mentored Andrew Carnegie. He is not remembered. His name is not etched in stone, but the seed he planted grew into a fortune that employed thousands and changed the world. His reward was not in fame, but in eternal significance. He acted as if failure would break the chain, and because of that, the chain remained unbroken. Now is the moment to declare, I live as if all depends on me, because it does. I am the first in my bloodline to walk with purpose. I act as if failure would break the world, because in some small way it might. Say these words not as sentiment, but as instruction. You are not here to blend in. You are not here to dabble. You are here to become the man others point to and say, because of him, I did not quit. Because of him, I believed again. That is your real reward, not applause, but impact. You are the bridge between what is and what could be. If you stand firm, others may cross. If you break, they may fall. That truth should not paralyze you. It should awaken you. For when you accept this assignment, strength you did not know you had begins to emerge. You stop hesitating. You stop shrinking. You begin to walk like a man who has been chosen. The world needs you, not a copy of you, not a diluted version. The real you, the one who decided to act, to rise, to hold the standard, to walk in the laws that govern greatness, to build when others break, to shine when others dim, to persevere when others fold. From this day forward, everything you do must reflect that decision. Wake early, speak power, walk tall, serve deeply, lead quietly, refuse to explain your aim. Let your work reveal your nature. Let your results speak on your behalf. Let your life be proof that faith, decision, and purpose still rule the world. The man who walks in this way is immortal. His name may fade, but his effect remains. He becomes a thread in the fabric of destiny. He becomes a symbol of what is possible. He becomes a living answer to the silent prayers of men who were waiting for someone to go first. That man is you.